Here's a quick podcast for all you true crime fans. The case of the missing Reese's. It was me at the store with my mouth. Motive? They're Reese's. What was I going to do? Stop myself? Tune in next time to see if I do it again. Spoiler, I will. Wow, that had everything. Reese's, suspense, Reese's.
Last podcast on the left is all about the facts. So when Southern New Hampshire University came on as a sponsor, it was time to do some research. Turns out they offer more than 200 online degree programs, and get this, criminal justice and psychology are some of the most popular. Classes have no set meeting times, and tuition rates are some of the lowest in the U.S. Want to learn even more about SNHU? Visit snhu.edu/last.
There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left. That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
Does anybody else feel like they could draw Jonestown from memory in their head now? I could do a Google Street 3D map of Jonestown.
Like a really sad Noah's Ark pamphlet.
Yeah.
It's a water park in Wisconsin.
I feel like I'm shuffling around Jonestown right now.
Yeah.
Is that bad? Is that depression?
It would be a horrible place to be a Google mapper. Whoever the hell would have that gig.
Just the dude with the Google Segway just waving.
Welcome to the last podcast on the left, everyone. I am Ben Kissel, as always, staring at the face of Marcus Parks.
Hey, Ben.
And Henry Zabrowski.
I have been sick for 15 days.
I got re-sick. I was sick and I still hadn't finished being sick, and now I'm re-sick.
I pinched a nerve in my shoulder drying my hair.
It's a middle-aged podcast.
Sometimes my ankles swell and I can't get my special doctor's socks above my ankle.
Oh my God.
Honestly, we're getting there, guys. We're getting to special socks.
Oh, I already have a couple. Yeah. All right, we got to continue on here with the Jonestown series. We're on to part 5. Warning, some of the audio that we're going to play later on in the episode, it's disturbing as you can imagine, so just be forewarned. And of course, we'll treat it with a lot of respect and things like that.
And not just continuing, this is the end of Jonestown.
It's not like a fun dance number end.
No.
This is not like was it 9 weddings and a funeral?
4 weddings and a funeral.
4 weddings and a funeral. It's not one of those. It's not like Hugh Grant is not going to come out and be like, everyone's going to be like, he's charming. It's very rough.
So People's Temple grew for 27 years before Jim Jones arrived in Jonestown in August of 1977. In 1 year and 3 months, Jim Jones would tear down everything he'd worked for. This last chapter of our series is about that time and the end of it all.
Honestly, it's an incredible trip because Marcus and I were talking about the breadth of Jonestown over the phone, and part of it's like really you start thinking about it. It's like, wow, he spent such a long time. We said sowing the seeds, being super cult leader, patient, which is what he should have been, and he did great. He was doing great for a long time, and then it took a year for the mass suicide to happen. And in this year, what we're going to cover here is very brutal, and it got dark very, very fast.
Absolutely. It is the opposite of the future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. Because in reality, the future's very dark for the people at Jonestown and for Jim Jones himself.
But he
and
still
Mr. Muggs.
wore shades.
But he still wore shades.
Now, an important thing to know about Jonestown is that the people there have become quite used to Jim Jones as a constant presence. Jonestown was rigged with a sound system complete with loudspeakers that were connected directly to a microphone in Jim Jones's private cabin.
This is, a podcaster's dream.
I guess
Who wouldn't
so.
love that constant time to be able to tell everybody, be like, I thought the last Thor movie was fine, but also I thought The Last Jedi was pretty good. Also, Phantom Thread was pretty good. Also, Get Out was good, but it shouldn't have been nominated as a comedy for the Golden Globes just for hours and hours and
Was
hours.
Get Out nominated as a comedy?
Was it?
Was it? Mm-hmm. It was?
Yes.
That is news to me.
Lil Rel
And
was
this is
very funny, but that was...
welcome to the newest segment called News to Me by Ben Kissel. It's a horror movie.
Yes, of course, it's a drama. They didn't know
You
how to categorize it because they're stupid.
I have to go on a little side rant here. Every time there's a good horror movie, they're like, no, it wasn't. It couldn't be because it couldn't be good if it was a horror film. That's why everyone's like, there's no good horror films. Evidently, Get Out's a freaking comedy.
Yes, horror is drama. That's what people don't understand. Horror is just drama. It's just got monsters in it. But this, so remember though, before the 5 months leading up, right? So they sent a bunch of people there to clear out the jungle, and they said that during that time period in Jonestown, they were very peaceful. They were connected to the Lord. They felt very with it. They were in commune with nature. They were out there. They said that the old people there was really hard work, but they were feeling the rhythm of the jungle, which is I think is kind of fun. They were all like just loving their life, just playing with lemurs and shit. Like they're taking macadamia nuts out of their hands.
Right.
And then Jim Jones shows up. And it immediately becomes a Jim Jones show, and he is such an exacting micromanager, to use a pedantic term for him.
Right.
He's crawled up their asses, and then it's 24 hours of his face and his voice from then on.
It's like every single person who works in an office, the manager is gone on vacation for a week trying to quit smoking in the Bahamas. Everything works totally smooth in the office. Everything is finished on time. And then as soon as he gets back, it's just more difficult when he's there.
Yeah, that's exactly how people describe Jonestown. Now, sometimes on these loudspeakers, they'd play music, they'd play Earth, Wind, and Fire, which is super fun, or they'd play Perry Como, which isn't as fun.
It's relaxing.
It's relaxing, I guess, but mostly these people would have to put up with long diatribes from Jones himself. And this was throughout an 11-hour workday.
Wow.
And when Jones didn't feel like talking, or he was too busy, or he was too fucked up on drugs, which he was a lot, he pulled one of his old tapes out and play that just to keep the constant blather going.
Good Lord, it's got to be like living with Sinbad.
The only people I'll ever allow to complain about millennials' work ethic are the people of Jonestown, because that's crazy.
No, it was a lot of work, and it was backbreaking work. And then you have to listen to him all day long, which is the cult thing, right? Which is the idea that he becomes your whole consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing was, though, is that when they were starting to kind of get towards the end, every once in a while, they'd turn off the speakers and just let him talk.
And he didn't notice?
And he didn't notice.
like the fat kid from the movie Heavyweights? Was it Heavyweights where he was never connected to the, he was just talking into the microphone the whole time?
No, I think you're Wet Hot American Summer.
Yes.
Oh, Wet Hot American Summer. Yes. Oh, that movie's great.
Yeah. If he was too fucked up, they'd just turn it off and just be like, silence.
Wow.
Thank Christ. So at the end of the workday, the people, after listening to Jones speak for hours, they'd all go to the pavilion to hear Jones speak some more.
Oh my gosh.
Now, these meetings were where Jones truly sowed the seeds of paranoia in his people. We listened on the last episode to a couple of these meetings, to some of the punishment meetings, but that wasn't all it was. It wasn't all punishment. This is an example of Jones telling his people what direction America was heading, because he had to keep them on their toes. It's like, you think shit's bad here, you ought to know what's going on back in America.
All right.
Now, these tapes, they're not always the best quality, and there is an echo on this one, but I still think this is important to hear.
If you have any mistaken feelings to look back to America, if you have any idea that America has anything to offer, you need to, perhaps you need to hear the housing director that I'd prophesied. I told him the end had come for minorities. I'm just thinking of it spontaneously, so I don't know that I'll find it offhand. I'd quote it just word for word. He sent me a letter. And saying, he said, I hate to say, Reverend Jones, that all you said about what was going to happen to minorities in America is taking place before our eyes.
It does sound like an audio sample from a Butthole Surfers song.
Yeah, a little bit. It also sounds like if Lou Gehrig really went a different direction with his final speech there at Yankee Stadium.
But he would sit on stage. So have you seen like the movie The Sacrament? They
Oh,
do
yeah.
a really good job of setting up the actual what the space looked like. It was like an elevated platform that sat in a bunch of loose chairs and tables, and people would stand and stare at him. And behind him, he'd have this big sign that says, "Those that forget the past are doomed to repeat it." It's something like that line.
Those
that
who
was
don't
like,
remember the past are doomed to
or
repeat.
condemned to repeat it. So, which is
It was-
interesting. I
Well,
don't.
it was a misquote in the first place. Even if we are misquoting it, he misquoted it as well.
We're doing a double misquote.
You can't misquote a misquote. I'm pretty sure you cannot misquote a misquote.
You can't. But he would go up in there and he'd just pick up the newspaper. And he'd start doing bits like he's like Dave Chappelle. Like he's just doing his extra hours where he is interpreting the news for everyone every single day at the end of the day. And it sounds trippy as fuck.
Yeah, it sort of sounds like if Lenny Bruce met Marlon Brando from what was that horrible movie that he was in where he was covered all white, The Island of Dr. Moreau. Marlon Brando from The Island of Dr. Moreau meets Lenny Bruce, and the entire time the Wayne from the Flaming Lips is playing bass.
Also, it marks the slow descent of when Jim Jones begins to sound like Droopy Dog, and you will see and when we play some of the more horrible tapes, maybe it'll bring a smile to your face to imagine it's Droopy Dog.
We got to get through it somehow.
Now, you might think that people would try to verify these claims with their friends and relatives back home. After all, since black people were the majority in Jonestown, their friends and family would probably have heard something about shit like this going on, because Jim Jones was telling them they're getting rounded up and put into concentration camps, and the KKK is taking over towns in America. But all mail going out was censored, and all mail coming in was opened up and read. Anything that went against Jones's narrative, either coming in or going out, wasn't allowed. And that's if people even had the nerve to ask. In fact, most letters were filled with outright lies meant to soothe worries in the United States. When family members whose loved ones had gone to Jonestown got together and compared notes, they found that many of their daughters had all claimed to be engaged to Dr. Larry Schacht, fulfilling the age-old "my daughter is marrying a doctor" dream.
Meanwhile, it's Dr. Larry Schacht, who looks like Riff Raff from what's his butts from Rocky Horror Picture Show. He's got those like long blonde hairs on either side of his head, and he's fucking bald up top, and he's walking around and like, "Hey, ladies, so you guys are dating old Dr. Schacht, right?" Right? No, I mean, I know it's fake, but on paper, it's as good as if you're dating me. So you're my girlfriend, you're my girlfriend, you're my girlfriend, you're my boyfriend. I will not physically touch you. I'm not allowed by dad, but on paper, rock and roll.
Kind of sounds like Donald Trump's doctor. Remember that lunatic?
Yeah. People in the U.S., they weren't buying that line of horseshit or any other, so they formed a coalition called Concerned Relatives.
Oh my God, it sounds like a basketball team from Southern Florida. The Boca Raton Concerned Relatives. But they did a very good job. These are the ones that essentially brought down Jonestown.
Yeah, their express purposes were to rescue their family members and hopefully take down Jim Jones in the process. These people were joined by Grace Stone, who'd begun to turn up the heat in the custody battle over her son, John Victor, a.k.a. John, who by this time was being referred to as the child god in Jonestown, which gave the fight for his custody even more gravitas.
All right.
Then, Jones was faced with his highest profile defection yet, longtime lawyer Tim Stone, who had finally gotten tired of Jim Jones's shit after Jim accused him of being a CIA double agent.
Ooh.
That's what got him mad. Was that after all of this bullshit, he got mad because Jim Jones decided to paint him as a fake villain with Tim Stone's knowledge within the cult. But what we're finding out here is that, I mean, number one, Tim Stone was never really happy with the fact that Jim Jones fucked his wife and they had a kid.
Yeah.
He signed that affidavit.
Didn't quite get over that
saying,
one, huh?
No.
Not that little hurdle there?
It seemed to always come up, especially when you watch your fat, weird little boy being called the child god, and you're just standing there just being like, you know, I made him. I wish I could have made him. You know what I mean? I wish I'd given it a shot to make him. But he got so mad that he went back to Grace Stone. So he would go on these trips for Jim Jones, like doing various coordinating things, and he started taking more and more time to do his own bullshit. And so he went to Grace and said, listen, I know this is a problem. We got to go get John out. And they joined forces. And Tim Stone, being the super fucking aggressive lawyer that he was, which made him such a useful tool for the People's Temple, has now made him like the only real true enemy that Jim Jones can't handle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
So in response to Tim's defection, Jim Jones, I mean, he's going against this high-powered, extremely aggressive lawyer. This guy was an assistant DA in San Francisco. He's not fucking around. But the best Jim Jones could do was like, he subscribed to gay porn magazines in Stone's name and had him sent to his address.
Is he Bart Simpson? What is going on?
Yeah, he released an affidavit saying that Stone had made fun of the Guyanese prime minister.
I mean, he does have big feet. So he just wrote a long thing being like, okay, guys, how do we roast him? How do we roast the Guyanese prime minister? He's got big feet. Yeah, well, Clay, you got clown feet, you asshole. Write it down. Write that down. That's a good roast. That's a good rib.
I mean, he's joking, but he did that in kind of a roundabout sort of way. Jim Jones got them all together, all of the people, and had them write essays about how they would kill Tim Stone. And then he had them read it aloud during meetings.
Well, that's kind of fun. It
is.
Yeah,
that's nice to get everybody together with an activity.
Yeah, not the worst of all the activities they had to do there, I suppose.
But when King God Jones talked to his people about Tim Stone, he'd never say that Stone, and by extension anyone else, could ever hurt Jim Jones. It was all about what Stone was doing to them, to People's Temple. Here's an example.
I could kill him. I could really kill him. Literally kill him. He's a son of a bitch to do what he did to me, to this people. To do what he did. I don't give a goddamn to me because it's you that he can't hurt me. I wish it was just me and him. Goddamn his ass. I'd drive him crazy. But I've got to watch every move I take because it could hurt a Gene Brown or Leona back there or a Guy Young or a whole host of other people. Lots of people back there at Alice that need a chance, a Dennis that need a chance, on down the line, of Louie Davis, on. I'd get him tonight. Oh, I got the man that'll get him. All I got to do is say the word, go. I love those people too much. It's not worth it. His white ass ain't worth it. Let him live. Yeah, but the only one little catch to that. If he ever gets in a court of law, he can hurt you more. So Dad's always moving back and forth like the pendulum, wondering about it. It's not an easy decision.
I am saying pendulum from now on instead of pendulum. It is interesting. You could see him make shit up as he goes.
Yeah, right.
You could see him do the thing where you go, I'll go get him now. Let's go get him right now. If I can go get him if I want to. He's right over there. You can't see him? He's just like Spider-Man. That's why I wear these sunglasses, because I can see invisible Spider-Man. And you better watch, because I've got 9 more invisible Spider-Men all over this compound.
Yeah, he sounds like Harry Carey fuck Charles Manson or something. It's very weird.
Well, you hear a lot that was a minute-long clip, and you hear a lot of Jim Jones's tactics in that minute-long clip. He's calling out people personally. He's doing that politician thing. He's frightening them with one hand, and he's bringing them closer with the other. And he's also keeping them off balance. He's not quite making a decision. He's saying like, well, I could get him if I wanted to. And he's saying like, I could kill him. But then he's also saying like, but there's only one problem with that. What if he gets into a court of law? But that's the thing. You just said you'd kill him.
Right.
If you kill him, he can't get into a court of law.
Well, Marcus, you mentioned how he couldn't take him to court if he was dead, but now I'm thinking about a great new movie, Ghost Court, which we could have Dan Aykroyd.
That's a really good idea. Litigation for ghosts.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. It's like Night Court, but with ghosts.
With ghosts, yeah.
No, it was not all bad days in Jonestown. Fielding McGee, this guy, Fielding McGee.
You had a conversation. You had a 2-hour conversation with him, which was great. What is the institute that he's the head of?
The Jonestown Institute. This is the guy. He is the principal researcher for the Jonestown Institute, which is an achievement. of research. This guy, he has been transcribing these tapes, these Jonestown tapes, for decades now. He's been going through them and transcribing them.
And he sounds like it. You went, and I listened to the interview that you guys did, and I could not have heard more nerd kissing in my life. The two of them just so interested. They're so excited to talk to each other. And Fielding could just name off tapes. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's the tape from May 15th, 1974. And he just like, it's crazy, his knowledge. And he shed a lot of light on the story.
It's like when Tori Spelling's character from Saved by the Bell dated Screech. Isn't that nice? Remember that?
I do.
Screech did find a little love there after all.
I do remember that. But yeah, I mean, he shed a lot of light, especially on the last days. And he pointed me towards like a lot of really great resources to really try to piece together the timeline of what really happened here. And he actually gave me a little tip on a story when I asked him, what about the good times?
Okay.
You know, were there good times in Jonestown? And this is something that especially Henry was interested in.
Yeah.
Like what were the good times in Jonestown? And Fielding McGee...
What was game night like?
Yeah, well, exactly.
and Fielding, he told me there were good times. There were babies being born. Kids were playing all the time. The kids were happy. There was genuine love there. And there was positive laughter, too. You know, it's not just the cruel shit that we heard on the snake tape. That apparently is, you know, that was not a regular thing.
Right, okay.
You know, there were people here who very much loved each other. And as an example, Fielding pointed me towards this story called Ruth's Teeth that was recounted by Stephen Jones, Jim Jones's son. In this story, Stephen wrote about the time he helped a girl named Ruth fish her fake teeth out of a latrine after they'd been popped out by a violent spray of vomit. Frequent vomiting being a fact of life in Jonestown.
This was the good times?
These are the good times.
This is a funny story.
This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one website platform that helps you stand out online. Yes, that's right. You don't have to smash your face with a hammer. You can just start a business. It's got everything you need on Squarespace, from securing your domain to building a professional site and showcasing your work all in one place. Let's say you want to show everybody how you can carve your ribs out of your lower abdomen so that you look more like a Ken doll. That's amazing. You can bring your vision to life with AI-powered design or curated templates, plus flexible editing tools that helps you create something that truly reflects your style, especially if you are somebody that is trying to corrupt the young men of America. That's what Squarespace is really going to help you. Squarespace makes it easy. It makes it easy for you to put all that together, and you just go to Squarespace and do it all. Thanks, Braden. Head to squarespace.com/left for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code LEFT to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Is there anything better than a summer evening outdoors? Enjoy your space to the fullest with new greenery from Fast Growing Trees. I love a big, thick bush. Fast Growing Trees is America's largest, most trusted online nursery, and they can send me a big, thick bush any time of the day. It arrives at work. It arrives at my car. I can pinpoint on a Google map where it is. Send me a big, thick, brown bush. And they send it immediately when they have it, because sometimes the shaver comes to town. I remember one time I ordered a cherry wood tree from Fast Growing Trees, and my God, I couldn't cut it down no matter what my father told me to do. I had to lie to him about it, and next thing you know, I became the first president of the United States of America. And even you can become the first president of the United States of America with Fast Growing Trees. Right now, get up to half off select summer planting essentials, plus get an additional 20% off your first purchase with code LEFT at checkout. That's an additional 20% off at fastgrowingtrees.com with code LEFT at checkout. Offer is valid for a limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey there, everybody. Is your cell phone bill too much money? Are you getting that bill and you're like, hey, what is this? I can't believe for what? For 5G? Are you crazy right now? $100? I don't even barely got any bars when I'm just sitting in my living room, okay? You don't have to deal with that anymore, Are you ready for this? $15 a month. That's right, $15 a month on Mint Mobile. Yeah, baby. Get their wireless plan, because they're just sitting there on the T-Mobile 5G network, and it's just $15. Your whole life, you're just paying all this money every month. You're like, why? Where's it going? It's going to these phone companies that are robbing you. So go to Mint Mobile. Let them help you talk to your mom. So get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month. Go to mintmobile.com/LPOTL. That's mintmobile.com/LPOTL. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LPOTL. That's it. There's no catch. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, $180 for 12 months. Plan required, $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when the network is busy. Includes up to 20 gigabytes hotspot. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com.
Now, a guy named Ronnie rigged a harness and was lowered down into a 15-foot deep waste pit full of socialist scat.
Oh, my goodness. Why does that sound more disgusting than capitalist doom?
The Republican runs?
The Republican runs.
The Republican
Oh, my
runs.
goodness.
I will say that the Republican runs are thicker. A socialist scat is a little bit more watery.
All right.
Well, this guy, Ronnie, working with Steven, he managed to swing down and he plucked the teeth that rested on a pile of goo. All for this girl, you know? And they said they were laughing the whole time, just like, can you look at what the ridiculous shit we're doing? Like, this is what we're doing down here.
It's like a deleted scene from the animated movie The Rescuers.
But with more piles of fetid jungle shit.
No, the point of this story is that these people would do anything for each other, and they would, you know, and it's sweet in that way that these people would do absolutely anything for each other. But these were the good times, you know, like it was a hard life.
Yeah.
No, and some didn't mind it, and some people loved it.
Some people like took to it.
Yeah.
They were saying like it's weird how like these people from Indiana, like that was a part of the 5 months before.
Right.
There were people who were like, I'm a jungle person.
Yeah.
I thought I was a Gary, Indiana person.
Right.
But in fact, I love palm fronds. I love bugs. I love sweat all over every single crease of my body. And they love it.
Yeah, they absolutely.
But many people did not.
I could see. I watched Planet Earth 2 last night.
It's great, right?
Yeah, it's great. It's a little Jonestown-y there when they get to the forest.
Well, the people who didn't love it, Jones made it very difficult for them to leave.
Oh.
First of all, he had all their passports, all their money, and all their valuables. Some even tried leaving regardless, just going out into the jungle and seeing what the fuck would happen, because they knew there was a railroad not too far away, a few miles out. If they got to the railroad, then maybe someone would pick them up. Maybe they could hitch on a train. But a lot of times these people were brought back, quote unquote, for their own good. Like, in fact, like 2 teens who tried to escape through the jungle, they were caught, they were brought back, and they had to wear leg irons for weeks.
I don't really understand how they don't have things like there's certain foods they don't have. There's stuff that they can't get on the like they can't get toilet lids,
Right.
but they can get leg irons.
Yeah, that's interesting, huh?
It's like very difficult to find leg irons if you don't have access to an eBay.
I don't even think can you even get them on eBay? I don't even know.
Oh, yeah, you can get them on
Okay.
eBay, yeah. And Jones was also just casually mentioning in meetings, like, for example, when he was talking about Tim Stone, that people who betrayed him should be killed.
What was that last part, Jim?
And he's
They should be killed. It's simple as that, my dear. They should be killed as soon as possible. And he's waving a fucking gun around, which is he's just throwing this shit like out there like it's casual.
Yeah. Honestly, he sounds like a dude running for the Alabama Senate. Waving a gun, be like, they should be killed.
Yeah, and that's not something that we've really mentioned, is that Jones had a gun on him a lot.
All right.
Big 357 Magnum. And he sometimes just kind of twirled it around during meetings. And one night, he was speaking in a meeting. It was like 1 a.m. These people had worked 11 hours. He'd been speaking for hours upon hours. And so people were falling asleep. So he just fired the fucking gun into the air and said, y'all, you awake now?
That'll work.
You ready to listen to me now?
I had a history teacher that had a big stick. He had this big bamboo stick that he used to keep next to his desk, and if somebody fell asleep in class, he'd smash the stick down on the desk and wake him up.
Was your history teacher Sabu from ECW?
What?
That's insane.
Yes, he was, Mr. Sabu. Dr. Sabu.
Oh, okay.
And he actually got his doctorate.
Well, Jones was casually mentioning that he would kill anyone who betrayed him, and of course, leaving was a betrayal.
Right.
And a lot of the rank and file, they didn't give a shit who left. They were saying like, you know what? If they want to leave, let them leave.
Yeah, more food for them, right?
More food for us. We love it here. These people who don't want to stay here, they're nothing but trouble. We're spending so much time punishing them and trying to get them to love it here. Let them go.
By the way, update on Nothing But Trouble. It's at 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's actually gone down, and I think it's because
How has it gone down?
I don't know. I think it's because we're driving people to watch it, and they are accurately giving it the score of tomato at Rotten at 5%.
It's got to go back up.
Yeah, no, I think we are actively making the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Although
worse,
Jackie
yes.
Zabrowski from Page 7, I don't believe she'll need to get that tattoo, which she has been entertaining for a long time. So very good.
Well, for most of these people, they could have lost 200-300 people and they wouldn't have cared. Whittle it down to the true believers. But for Jones, even one was too many, as we'll see. So when the legal pressure from the custody battle finally made its way down to Guyana, Jones stepped things up, taking his old assassination trick to the next level with a full-fledged fake invasion.
And if it wasn't so fucking horrible, it would have been kind of fun. Because think about this. It's, again, you got a couple assault rifles. You got a bunch of people out in jungle compound anyway. They are kind of itching for some action.
Sure.
I mean, I maybe would. It'd be kind of fun to walk around with like little like the black marks of the camouflage on my face, jumping out of things, being like, "Gotcha, jungle cat. Gotcha, jungle monkey." Like it's like attacking things. And like that would be fun.
Yeah,
but it
else?
wasn't like that.
They're just kind of wargaming.
Yeah,
right?
they're kind of wargaming, but they think it's real. And I think for a lot of these people, I think Henry hits on a good point there, is that I think for a lot of these people, like, half of this is the sense of adventure.
Right.
It's adventure that they're in the jungle and that
They're from Indiana.
They're from Indiana.
Like, these are people. This is exciting shit.
Yeah.
You're down in the jungle. You don't know what's going on. You hear these kind of half convoluted stories from your pastor, your father now, who you now believe to maybe be touched by God. He is there telling you all of these truths about how America's turning into a concentration camp, like fucking warehouse. That is just what's happening. And so in Guyana, Jim Jones, on the inside, they don't really know about the custody battle. They have been asking, like, there's some kind of leaks of information here and there, but they don't really know how serious it's getting because Tim and Grace Stone, they're constantly filing these court hearings for Jim Jones to have to show up at in the States, and then he's not. So the legal pressure is mounting and mounting. So one day he calls one of his normal meetings, and then shit just goes ape shit.
Yeah, because Jones had been ordered to appear in a Guyanese court.
Okay.
Because up to this point, it had all just been American courts, but now it had gotten all the way down to Guyana. So Jones called up the deputy prime minister, Ptolemy Reed, to see if he could straighten it out, because Jim Jones and Guyana... Jones had become quite a pain in the ass to Guyana.
He still had political clout, though, huh?
I mean, he was able to, because he had political clout in America. So it translated down to Guyana. But Reed was unavailable. He was in the United States on business.
And that's a part of it what made him kind of crazy, because first of all, it's like, why is he United States? Is he researching on me? Because it all has to be about Jim Jones. Also, he used to have access to the prime minister himself, but now he's been kind of like downgraded to just talking to the deputy prime minister, which is who he should have been talking to anyway. And so Jim Jones also believes that there's now an inner conspiracy in the Guyanese court system coming to get him. And also, Guyanese court would be a great sister show to Ghost Court. That's not like, I honestly think that would also be a very fun night court, ghost court, Guyanese court would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, Jim Jones, a rational person would have thought, it's like, okay, this guy is a high-ranking government official. He's probably in the United States on business that has nothing to do with me. But Jones could not imagine these people to be going to America for any reason other than Jonestown.
Okay.
He figured in his mind, in his paranoid mind, that either Reed had gone to the U.S. to collude with the United States government, or he'd been taken prisoner in a United States-backed coup.
Oh, yeah. We always want the deputy prime minister of Guyana. That's a big get.
Yes, we got to get it.
Yeah, but it didn't matter which one because the reason behind either was singular, Jonestown.
Right.
And so Jones called out the troops. To make things real for his settlers, Jones brought out the false flag and had his son shoot in his direction from the tree line.
God, that's got to be so fun as the son, is you get to go shoot the guns. It's like finally they have all these guns that they're not supposed to use because technically their code name for them is Bibles. That's what they say. That's what they call them on the ham radio. And so they've got these crates full of quote-unquote Bibles that you finally get to go play with. And so he's like, son, go out there and start the revolution. And so he runs out into the jungle and starts shooting at the compound. And then he's like, fuck it. All right, guys, we're mobilizing.
So either his son is a horrible shot or a great one.
He's a great one.
Good
and
Lord.
Furthermore, Jones didn't tell his private guard that his son was taking the shot at him. So when his son took the shot, the guard started firing in Jim Jones Jr.'s direction. So he could have very easily been killed here.
Well, if they were the animated bullets from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, that's kind of fun.
That's the third time you've ever brought that up on this show. And I will.
Thank you.
That is a reference that I don't understand why it is. That is logged in your brain.
I love that movie.
So do I.
Jessica Rabbit.
So for the next 6 days, Jonestown was under siege, as far as they knew. Jones said that the Guyanese troops, working with a team of mercenaries, were on their way at that moment to take away John Victor.
Now remember this. So this is what's happened here. The Red Guard, which is their group, right? The guys that are like their security team, has grabbed all the AK-47s that they have hidden. Most of the people in the group didn't even know that they had. All of a sudden, guns are everywhere. They are being marched in military formations in front of and around the pavilion and on the grounds of the entire Jonestown compound.
How many guns?
No one is allowed to sleep.
How many guns did they have?
Not as many as you'd think.
Okay, 'cause I'm picturing like everyone is loaded, armed to the teeth.
No,
It's like 25 guns.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like 25 to 30 guns.
Yeah, it's not Branch Davidian.
Oh,
arsenal
okay,
here.
all right.
No.
Yes, it's just, I'd say, 6 short of a stockpile. Like, to me, a stockpile officially is 100.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Would you call that legally, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's a Texas Baker's dozen of guns.
Yes, a smattering is 6. I would call a smattering of guns. They had like a standard pile of guns.
Okay, a pile of guns.
A large collection.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you have to remember, everybody's running in military formations, and they're being kept up. No one is allowed to go to sleep. Everyone's on full alert.
Yeah. And then nothing happened for 2 days. After nothing happened, Jones told his people that they were all gonna go to Cuba.
Well, because he just made shit up. Yeah. Everybody's staring at him. Everyone's been up for 2 full days. He finally says, like, okay, remember now, there's a boat that will take us all to Cuba. And he just made this shit up, saying we have to go to the Port Kaituma, and there will be a boat waiting for us that's going to take us to our communist homeland.
Yeah.
So he mobilizes all these old people in the middle of the night to march through the jungle to Port Kaituma, which is like a 2 to 3 mile hike through solid jungle.
I think it was longer than that.
Good Lord.
I think it was more like 5 to 10. But yeah, he's improvising because he has to do something.
How reasonable is the idea that they could go to Cuba?
I mean, somewhat reasonable in that he's telling people that Cuba is a reasonable idea. They think,
but it's not.
It's not.
Okay, because Guy Fieri was just there. I watched the Triple D, and Guy Fieri was there. It looked nice.
Yeah. So he's improvising. He's like, "All right, we're going to Cuba. Everyone get there." And he takes them to Port Kaituma, and he actually starts loading them up onto the boat. But then an old lady fell and broke her hip, and the whole thing was called off. They're like, all right, everyone back to Jonestown, which, sometimes Jones, he was a master improviser, but just sometimes it just didn't work.
No kidding.
I wish we could get across, because when I first read it in The Road to Jonestown, again, if you are really interested in this subject, there's stuff that we're even kind of glossing over that's in The Road to Jonestown. Also, Raven's a fun read, and if you go into the Jonestown Institute, you're going to see a lot of even more what Road to Jonestown kind of even glossed over. But a part of this night was the true panic of it. These people were whipped up into a frenzy. This trek across the jungle was a panicked, half run. People were running and really, really frightened, thinking that people were going to shoot at them from the jungle. They had people with guns right next to them. So a part of this was he just started this chain reaction where he was like, okay, everybody, we're going to the port. And everyone just ran out into the jungle, and it became a very scary chaos.
Is it fair to say the average age of the people running would be the same people of the average age running after like Neil Diamond now? If they saw him like performing in Dollywood or something, they would.
If I went to a soup plantation with a gun and try to get all those guys going, it's the same equivalent. It's like a 55 to 75.
55 to 70.
Well, Jonestown was in thirds. It was a third elderly, a third adults, and a third children.
Oh, okay.
So it was all kinds of people telling him that, and Jones had been telling him for days, like, they're right out there. They're at the tree line. They are waiting for you out there. And all of a sudden he's saying, go out there, and you could be killed at any minute.
Okay.
But they got back to Jonestown. Nothing happened. And Jones, he gets on the ham radio with Marcelin. And by the way, it is Marcelin, not Marceline. I learned that from Fielding, that, it's Marcelin.
All right.
But he's on the ham radio with Marcelin back in the U.S. because she's back there still trying to take care of people's temple business. And he told her what he thought was going on. And he also told her, we're all prepared to die. We're going to it's time. Revolutionary suicide is going to happen. And Marcelin knew that this was a threat to take seriously, so she, along with a few other People's Temple members, hustled their asses off and managed to locate the Deputy Prime Minister of Guyana in the whole of America and found him, coincidentally, in Indiana.
Why? Why is he there?
He's the music man.
Now, Reed got on the ham with Jones and assured him that nobody was coming. And after the assurance, Jones called everyone back to the pavilion and told them, we won!
We won!
That's it?
Yes!
But
I didn't know that there was an option to win. They were just hanging there, like, oh, wow, congrats, old lady.
I know.
Meanwhile, she's covered in bug bites and shit.
Yeah.
Broken hip.
He didn't tell them what they'd won. He didn't tell them how they won it. He just said, we won.
Okay.
All that people knew and all they cared about was that the 6-day siege, as they started calling it, was finally over.
I'm going to do that every time the Knicks lose. I'm just going to say, we won!
We won!
We won!
Because you feel so much better that way. This is my question. Marcelin was a part of the idea. She was like a party to the idea that everyone was going to kill themselves, right? Or was she kind of like playing along a little bit? And because she seemed to always kind of fight the final roundup. Like every single time there was one of these, what we're now going to find out is called the White Knights, but every time there's one of these, she's kind of the one that says like, no, we're not really going to go all the way.
Well, the way Fielding McGee put it to me was that this whole thing was a runaway train. And Marcelin was in the engine room tinkering with the carburetor. Oh. She was trying.
She was Scotty.
Yeah.
So you're saying she's Scotty of Jones?
Star Trek
No,
reference?
I'm not saying she's Scotty. Essentially what it is that like Marcelin was trying to do what she could, but it was too big. It was too much. There was way too much to do and way too much to stop, and she didn't have the power. The power had been taken away from her years before and given to Carolyn Layton.
It sounds like it might be a runaway train on a one-way track.
And Jones
spin wheels on a one-way track. Feels like we should be getting somewhere. Find out it's not a here nor there. Runaway train, never going back. That's honestly a really good soundtrack.
Yeah, I love
for
that
the rest of the episode.
We began the episode as old men, and we've middled the episode as old men.
We are just representatives of the lithium generation. And I think that's important. We're holding the line.
But the beginning of all this shit, the beginning of the 6-night siege, when Jones called his people to the pavilion, that was the first of what came to be known as the White Knights.
All right.
And that's Knights, N-I-G-H-T. White Knights were emergency meetings, something Jones called when there was a defector or there was a problem back home, or whenever he felt like he just had something important to say.
Oh, I feel like that happened a lot.
It did. Well, White Knights were like the elevated one. He always had important things to say, Marcus. So he was always talking late at night. They always had the night sessions. White Knights became, again, we're joking around as always. We're a bit of jokesters, but the serious quality of the White Knights is something we have to get across too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this was scary shit. The 6-day siege, it became to known, was 6 days of pure panic that drove people to the edge of pure exhaustion. Like, a part of what's happening here is that people are so tired and so brainwashed and upset that they don't really know what they're doing. They're kind of moving automatically. They're getting guns put in their hands. They're getting pushed towards the jungle. They're kind of running back and forth like in these weird military scenarios. So these White Knights, every single time it happened, like they would say it felt like you could feel the feeling in the whole compound kind of wash over. That it was just like where it's like when a comedian does being like, now on a serious note. That's like what Jim Jones was doing.
Yeah. It's always my favorite part of every comedian's set.
I always love a comedian's lesson because comedians are philosophers and they are very important, and they're the ones that really, they're role models. And I think they're too important to be, we should be protected by the government.
I agree. And why isn't the plane? Why isn't the whole plane made out of the black box? Why isn't the whole plane in the black box?
Call me a squirrel, because I'm covered in acorns. That's right. So many people are focused on where their money is today. And Acorns is the financial wellness app that cares about where your money is going tomorrow. Let Acorns work for you. You put acorns in the ground and you're going to get trees tomorrow. That's right, investments. And with the Acorns potential screen, you could find out what your money is capable of. I always do that. I'm like, I want to invest in something that I like. Let's say cheeseburgers. Okay? That's kind of hard to do. Acorns will help you find a cheeseburger that is right for you. So sign up now, and Acorns will boost your new account with a $5 bonus investment. Wow! Join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $27 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/left or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 2 compensation provided. Potential subject to various factors such as customers' accounts, age, and investment settings. Does not include Acorns fees. Results do not predict or represent the performance of any Acorns portfolio. Investment results will vary. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/left.
Summer schedules can get busy fast with camps, vacations, sports, family time. And, every single time Carmi eats a block of dark chocolate, we got to take her to the emergency room. You know how much time that takes. All right, IXL makes it easy to keep learning part of the routine in just a few minutes a day. IXL is an award-winning online learning platform that helps kids truly understand what they're learning, whether they're building math confidence, strengthening reading and writing skills, or reviewing science concepts. From pre-K through 12th grade, IXL offers personalized, interactive learning that adapts to each child's level and pace, which is great because Carmi has been really slow in biology, and Wendy has really been struggling with American history, mostly just because she doesn't agree with the way it's being taught. So it's really important. You make an impact on your child's learning. Wendy, as soon as she gets her chicken, she is ready for all of her lessons. And Carmi just really has to eat 5 or 6 bites of liver, beef liver, chicken liver, and then she can really get down to, I'm hoping this is the year she reads To Kill a Mockingbird. So really, IXL, thank you. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And Last Podcast on the Left listeners can get an exclusive 20% off at IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/left. Visit IXL.com/left to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
All right, I know what you're thinking. I like to go banking, but I don't want to give to these big old banks all the time that cater to the 1%. Well, go ahead and get yourself hooked up with Chime. It's banking built for you, not just those rich jerks. And they got thousands of fee-free ATMs because why pay to get your own money? Chime is working for you, man. You get your Chime card, you're going to get travel perks, you're going to get into airport lounges, you're going to get those chicken thighs. You know, every time I go to an airport lounge, I get chicken thighs. And you know what I say whenever I see a plate of chicken thighs? Give me more. Chime's going to get you those chicken thighs in these lounges, all right? Sure, they can serve other types of meat, but why would you when chicken thighs are so delicious? Chime is not just smarter banking, it's the most rewarding way to bank. Join the millions who are already banking fee-free today. Head to chime.com/left. That's chime.com/left. It only takes a few minutes to sign up. Chime is a fintech, not a bank. Banking services for Chime Card provided by Chime's bank partners. Optional products and services may have fees or charges. Stated cashback for Chime Prime only. No minimum balance required. For more information on travel perks, go to chime.com/disclosures.
Yeah, and eventually these white knights, they would take on a much darker purpose than just scaring people. Now, White Knight was not the first name. It was developed through the Jim Jones method, which was just keep saying shit until something sticks. The first name was Omegas, but that signified an end, which went against Jones's whole reincarnation bullshit. Then he tried alphas, but that didn't have the same pizzazz, that same element of danger. Because, like, Omega, that sounds tough.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
It's kind of fun.
And alpha, but alpha's very 4chan.
Yeah.
Next was Black Knight, much scarier. But he was worried about the racial connotations in that.
Okay.
But he finally got it with White Knight, which sounded mysterious, foreboding, and again had that little racial edge to it, subtly referencing the race of the people who were coming to get him.
It also kind of sounds like one of those things that party monster guy would go to in the village in like 1994.
Michael Alec, yes.
He's doing fine now.
He's doing great.
He's out.
He's doing great.
Yeah.
Well, White Knights had the explicit purposes of terrifying members and keeping them constantly off balance. The point was to mentally exhaust people to the point of ultimate surrender. These people never knew which White Knight would be their last because Jones always made sure they knew the end could come at any moment. In one meeting, and who knows if this is accurate because Jones just spouted bullshit, Jones said that these people had gone through 84 White Knights together over the course of a year. Can you imagine
that's a
that?
lot. Yeah.
Multiple times a week, these people are doing this. Now, Jones even made them write essays with titles like, What I Would Do If This Was the Last White Knight. These people obsessed over it, and they were terrified of it.
I'd tell you what I'd do. I'd probably ask Becky to dance with me. Because I never had a chance to dance with Becky. All right. Oh, that's enough. That's enough, Tom. You asked me what I would do if this was the last White Knight.
Oh, I love singing Tom.
And part of why they were so terrified of him was because the first one lasted, as we said, 6 days. That's 6 days of constant terror, all because Jones's ego could not imagine the Guyanese government doing anything that didn't have to do with Jonestown.
Can I ask a question? How many of these things do you think came out of a genuine concern that there was a real conspiracy going on, or was it about Jim Jones essentially needing activity? I think this may be a 50-50 slice here between him being truly paranoid and driving these people, and I do think at some point he does believe the thoughts that come into his head, that he thinks that he's channeling shit, but there's also a part of me thinks that he just likes the action.
Yeah.
And he likes getting everybody revved up because it makes him, it basically gets him horny for how much power he has.
Yeah, how much of his own bullshit is he taking seriously?
It's hard to know. I mean, that's one of the things that it's impossible to know how much he was actually taken seriously. We can guess, but
Fielding McGee said that he thought that he was taking himself pretty seriously until Brazil.
Oh, until he failed over there. Oh, okay.
well, taking himself seriously as in he was a Christian. McGee believed that Jim Jones did believe in everything, and we talked about that in the first or second episode as well. That Brazil was the turning point for Jim Jones, but at this point, and another thing that McGee said is that every time you talk about Jonestown, you're faced with 10 more existential questions that will never be answered. It's just such a gigantic mystery.
Yeah, why do you park on a driveway but you drive on a parkway?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Guyanese, they weren't the only government officials in Georgetown to have to deal with Jim Jones.
Airport. If nothing sticks to Teflon.
Why do they cover things? How do they get it to stick to the Teflon?
How do you know if yogurt's gone bad?
Oh, that's the best comedian of all time. What the heck? What was his name again?
Mike Warnke.
Mike Warnke.
Can you hear me?
Airport.
No, besides just the Guyanese, the Russian ambassador was also besieged with calls from People's Temple. Now, the Russians gave the People's Temple a little attention because they were fellow communists. They sent a Russian reporter, but the only question the reporter asked was, where are all the TVs?
So what happened is that Jim Jones was looking for it's fucking ridiculous because he also assumes because it's an American compound is it's like let's wear all your TVs on your jean jackets. Everyone has a jean jacket and the denim Levi here. I turned Italian, but a part of what he did, Jim Jones was obviously looking for like what we talk about with every cult leader. He needs what's the next chapter, what's the next thing we're gonna do. So he was looking for possible socialist asylum in whatever country that he could reach. So he started sending letters to North Korea. He sent letters to China, the Chinese embassy, the North Korean embassy in Guyana. He sent it to, and all of them were like, cool. No, thank you. Like they were all like, as soon as they got the letter, they just barely respond. They sent like a form response being like, "Thank you for your interest in the Communist Party. We don't need you."
But the Russians were down.
But I think the Russians did it just to make fun of us. The Russians, like all of this shit with Putin too, where it's like all of this stuff with the election, I think it's just because they think it's hilarious to fuck with us.
Yeah.
Because he showed up and they literally they went all the way down to Jonestown with no this is after the White Night had already happened. They have no fucking intention of taking them.
Absolutely
but the guy went and did the full inspection.
He did the full thing. He walked around, he looked at Jonestown, but the only thing he said was, Jonestown is more socialist than us. We should be taking lessons from you.
Oh my
God!
God!
You guys crazy, huh?
Yakov Smirnoff.
Check, please. Me and my compatriots are leaving now because this place sucks balls, and I've lived in Russia. Okay, see you soon.
I do want to update everyone on my GameCube experience regarding Freedom Fighters 2004. I have defeated it, so I did beat the Russians in my own right. I'm playing a game. I'm a gamer now on GameCube.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
But really, like Russia, it was a false hope. You know, Jim Jones knew Russia was never going to take him. He just used it as something for people to cling to when things look grim. And man, you know, shit is not going well when the Soviet Union is your happy place.
I don't know. Russia's kind of fun. They're like, they have footage of like drafts driving taxis and shit. And
Yeah.
like, and AK-47s being used to cook eggs. It's like a fun place.
If you want to have a great YouTube hole experience, Russian
Dash cam video.
dash cam videos. Yes, the amount of rage that they drive with. I don't even think they have gas in those cars. It is simply hate.
Now, the State Department was also getting involved, but in a very half-assed capacity. They sent representatives to see if people were doing okay, but all they got were stock, "We're doing great, everyone loves it here" type of answers. Now, People's Temple, they actually had public rehearsals for when people came investigating, whether it be the State Department or reporters, with the questions being asked by Jones himself in what he called his reporter voice.
All right.
Tell me, do you put people in boxes here and bury them in boxes? Have you ever buried anybody in boxes?
No.
I'd look more shocked. I'd look more shocked than that.
No, we haven't. You know,
I'd say, why, hell no, or sakes not, huh? I'd say, what? Hell no. Somebody, what prompted that question? Say some of these rotten news stories. Say in the first place, say, how you gonna put somebody, even though we got ideal temperature, 76 degrees with trade wind, how you gonna put somebody in the ground, under the earth, in a box, and keep them alive? That's silly, man. That's crazy. See what I'm saying? It don't make no sense. You could put nobody in a box under the ground like Debbie lied. You can't do that. You couldn't put nobody underground in a coffin. Shit, I'm surprised these fools print this shit. Anybody with the right mind ought to see through it. Okay, I've stamped on you long enough.
Now, first of all, That's just blank slate. If you need to get out of anything, the standard response has got to be, what?
What?
Hell no.
Hell no.
Like, it's just like, that's how you know. That's how you know for a fact that you don't believe in what they just said. What? Hell no.
That was Stone Cold Steve Austin's catchphrase when he ran out of ideas. But that's no fault of his own. He had a lot of good ideas.
But another thing to remember here is, think about what he just said. He is coaching them to tell reporters how insane and horrible it is. The idea that someone would put somebody in a box and you would torture them and yell at them outside of this box and put it on the ground. How insane. There's no way you have that. But in reality, they did do that.
Yeah.
Right.
They did do that. So this is the kind of control he has, is that he is telling you to tell everybody how insane the idea is of the thing that you already did. And it's the cognitive dissonance is insane.
Right.
Like what you do, you're putting them in a whole other world. Like that was somebody else. It's like you're compartmentalizing their whole reality.
Now, the State Department said one of the reasons why they never pushed too hard was because they didn't want to impede on the religious freedom of the settlers.
Okay.
But I don't think there's really a lot of truth to that. Ironically, I think the reason why they didn't push was because the government didn't want to deal with a bunch of San Francisco hippies living out in the jungle, and they just hoped it would all work itself out.
It could have been. I mean, that's a logistical nightmare for them also, right? What would that look like?
I mean, lawyers have to be brought in. You know, there's all kinds of legal ramifications here, like constitutional ramifications here.
Well, you can kind of almost see the line of thought about how maybe this is even influenced later on why they dealt with Waco the way they did, where it's like essentially they did a hands-off policy with this one, and then 900 people died, and they just kind of assumed the jungle will handle everything, and they were afraid of the legal ramifications. But then with Waco was a total fuck up too, but it was the opposite side of the fuck up, where it's like this is just them trying to figure out what to do, and they don't know how to handle this shit.
Yeah. I think they actually got it right with that old Bundy clan. Remember that? Where was it? In Oregon?
In Oregon, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they just kind of waited them out, and I think the most of them are in jail now.
I mean, Jonestown was too soft and Waco was too hard. They went way far in the other direction. Because, I mean, the CIA was not after Jim Jones because the CIA usually doesn't waste time with failures. I mean, they might have paid attention had Jones reached national status and actually started changing shit, like what happened with Martin Luther King. But I seriously doubt the government gave even the tiniest fuck about some raven asshole shouting in the boonies in South America.
Okay. Do you think they would have cared if he would have stayed in America?
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, things were mounting in America. Because remember, you had that big article in San Francisco came out. And now in America, that's a part of what's happening here is that the pressure from America is really, really increasing.
Okay.
There's more and more people looking into the cult. The cult had it's becoming kind of like the topic of the day in America of people obsessed with People's Temple.
Yeah. And People's Temple did have government agencies after them, but they weren't anywhere near as sexy as CIA agents hiding in the jungle. It was like the social...
That's not that sexy.
Well, you know what I mean by sexy.
Just a CIA agent just be like...
That's kind of what... The problem is that in movies, CIA agents are Gerard Butler and Gillian Anderson, but in reality, CIA agents are me.
Yeah.
Like, I look like a CIA agent, which is kind of fun. I'd kind of like to join them just to see what it's like on the inside.
They're the most boring people you could possibly imagine.
They're not allowed to talk to you.
Yeah. But the people that were actually after People's Temple, it was like the Social Security office that were delivering the checks to all the old people, and customs checking their supplies, and the FCC getting on their ass about using the ham radio for business because you're only supposed to use the ham radio for fun.
That is it. That is it. That is the rules, Kinsel. You better be having fun. When you're using a ham radio, you better be giggling and giving nicknames to truck drivers.
What if I love my job? My dad's truck driver nickname was B Kraut, by the way.
Like
B Kraut, Big Kraut.
That's really cute.
Big
really
Kraut.
cute.
Yeah, and these were serious problems. You know, it's threatening their money and their supplies and their communications. But the deep state, it was not.
It was postal service workers.
Yeah. It was the Post Service and the Social Security Office and like dudes that works at the FCC. And like, yeah, these are real problems, but it wasn't the CIA and the FBI.
I do love the idea of a post office worker just every morning just be like, last line of defense, as he puts on his little
well, it's like Lil Rel from Get Out.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
the whole TSA shit. But part of it is, can you imagine, the guys at the FCC just being like, you guys know how fucked up this is? Like trying to call the government and be like, there's like fucked up shit happening. They're saying Bibles, but I know for a fact they're talking about guns. And ham radio's supposed to be for fun. And there's nothing fun about lying about guns.
It's so subjective.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in the mind of Jim Jones, and by extension the people who were getting the info through his filter, it was all the same. These people were coming. They were coming soon, and so they'd better prepare. That's when the White Knights took a dark turn.
That's when.
On February 18th, 1978, Jones gathered everyone together and told them that the Guyanese government had been infiltrated by the CIA, for real this time.
Okay.
And that soldiers had begun gathering at Port Kaituma.
Mr. Jones, I don't want to interrupt your monologue, but this is for real? For real this time?
Singing Tom, could you just sing that back to me?
Is it for real? For real this time? Oh, you got to believe. That's enough, singing Tom.
This time, though, nothing was done. No troops were deployed, no sentries were mounted, no exodus was spoken of. And after a few hours of making people wait, Jones left, went to the radio room, and came back to tell everyone that the troops were advancing. They were coming, and they were coming now.
He might as well just picked up his hand and done like the phone motion with his like pinky and thumb being like, I'm going to call the Guyanese government and make sure I know what's happening. Beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, 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 beep, boop. I'm seriously dialing the phone, y'all. Yep, hello, yep. We gotta kill everybody now. There's definitely a thing happening. They're all over the place. The CIA is everywhere. I saw a CIA agent dressed as a monkey earlier, trying to get up closer to Mr. Muggs.
Oh.
I did not. I am not a part of this. I'm being dragged into this scenario. I am just trying to enjoy a banana the way that monkeys enjoy a banana, from the bottom up.
I love Mr. Muggs.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what happened. Jones declared that it was finally time. Assistants brought out vats filled with dark liquid and told everyone to scoop out a cup and drink deep. Within 45 minutes, he said they would all be dead. Those that argued were pushed to the front by guards armed with guns and crossbows, and those people were made to drink first, setting a precedent. These people knew that this could very well be a test. But when it did actually happen, they knew there was not going to be a choice. After the 45 minutes were up, Jones told them that it was all just a test and that everyone had passed.
We won! We won!
And again, nobody said shit. In fact, it seemed to strengthen their resolve because they didn't blame Jim Jones. They blamed the outside world for making him do it.
Well, think about that kind of shit, too, where you're being trained to take the poison. Also, I think on a certain level, you believe that it'll always be a test. I don't think that they truly let it digest that it was really going to happen. They thought it was a thought test, I think, forever. And it wasn't until, we'll say on the final one, was the tenor was so intense, mostly just because of the level of armed guards that was kind of forcing them to do it, that they realized it was for real. But I think up until then, they thought it was always going to be shit like this where he's just teaching us a lesson.
Now, we don't have enough time to go through every stressor that led to November 18th, 1978. Jones had lawsuits, threats, and a steady drip of news stories out of San Francisco, all of these coming one after another after another. So in an effort to relieve stress, Jones turned to any avenue, including Jimmy Carter.
Really?
Yeah. Jones wrote Carter a 5-page letter titled Urgent, 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 that told Jimmy about all the problems he was having with the custody battle, making sure to let Jimmy know how and why he had sex with Grace Stone.
If you want to get his attention, you say peanuts, peanuts, peanuts.
No, I'm just a simple peanut farmer. And I've read your urgent letter from you, Mr. Jones, and I have to say, I am glad that Grace Stone has been dutifully sexually satisfied. But I am trying to put solar panels on the White House, and I'm getting much pushback. They don't like it. I don't understand. Can you help me, Jim Jones, This is my Jimmy Carter impression, which is getting worse and worse.
Oh, Jim Jones, you just send him those sunglasses, put those on top of the White House, I'll tell you that.
Jimmy did not respond.
He did not.
He did not.
He was busy.
The president.
He was busy with the
The
whole.
president didn't respond. That's weird.
Well, the drugs were taking hold as well. Once, Larry Schacht caught Jones in his room, combing his hair, saying he had to make sure he looked good for his upcoming visit with King Hussein of Jordan, who was coming to visit Jonestown.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. Was he wearing pants? That's my question.
Defectors also continued to escape. High profilers. Debbie Layton, the sister of Jones's right hand, escaped and told about the poison tests, which caught the attention of Congressman Leo Ryan. Jones's sons were already on their way out the door too. They, along with Marcelin, saw him for what he was more than anyone. But Jones didn't really need him anymore. He had Carolyn Layton and Maria Katsaris and Annie Moore and a dozen others. The no matter whats, the ones who doubled down every time Jim Jones did crazy shit. But Jones was gaining allies as well. One of Jones's favorite movies was Executive Action.
What's that about?
It's a conspiracy thriller. It's about like the JFK assassination. It was a bomb.
But wasn't there also another movie called Executive Action
Executive
that had
Decision.
Kurt Russell in it? Executive Decision.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, Jones contacted one of the screenwriters, this guy named Donald Freed, and Freed came down to Guyana and found he liked the cut of Jonestown's jib.
Big fan of your work, sir. Bulk of the series. Wrote the bulk of the series.
Now, through Freed, Jones was put into contact with a lawyer and author named Mark Lane. Lane was a conspiracy theorist who swallowed Jones's claims that the government was working against Jones hook, line, and sinker, or, more likely, Lane saw something he could exploit, much like another more modern conspiracy theorist named Jones that saw the same type of opening and, seeing a meal ticket, seized on it.
Okay. Being sadly, a self-described, I would say almost former conspiracy theorist, because now the times have changed and it's been taken from me. Is that I can't imagine anything more exciting than a fresh new conspiracy.
Yeah.
You get to be dropped down into a whole thing, and that's kind of fun, where you get to show up and look and see like, oh, I can manipulate this. Kind of like what would happen if we had really gotten into Lord Rael back in the day when we found him.
Anyway,
Where
we
it's
got to take a quick break here. I need to hop in my tactical bath. I just purchased it.
Now, Freed and Lane listened to Jones's rantings about the intelligence community coming after him for what Jones said was no reason whatsoever, and took them public. And it didn't matter if they believed it or not, these two guys. They created a feedback loop, making Jim Jones's claims, quote-unquote, real. When reporters asked Lane for concrete evidence, Lane said, "Where's the CIA not been?"
Yeah, got him.
And they're like, but that's not an answer. Like, there's no evidence. Like, we're asking for specifics. You're giving us conjecture. Like, do you have any specifics because this was a time when, like, the FBI and the CIA were villains.
Yeah.
There was COINTELPRO and all kinds of shit. So the media,
they were villains until fucking 6 weeks ago, Marcus. It's like now all of a sudden they're not villains anymore.
We talked about that on Abe Lincoln's Top Hat. Never forget, they're still kind of villains.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
The people were at the media who was looking for any dirt on the CIA and the FBI, looking for anything. They were saying, like, dude, give it to us. Like, give us something. And Lane's just like, draw your own conclusions on this one, bud.
All I got is this dress from J. Edgar Hoover's closet. Must be his wife's or something. I don't know.
You want to see a fun little secret? He puts a mask on that just says CIA on it. I'm the CIA now. What? You can just do that? What? Hell no. But a part of what I also imagine Mark Lane is wearing a Hawaiian shirt looking like Nedry from Jurassic Park. But it is he had a fun opportunity here as a conspiracy theorist, and I believe he milked it sufficiently.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to take a quick 5-minute break for some sponsored content that is still full of information, in which we talk about a gruesome ritualistic murder. But we'll be right back with the day itself.
This segment is brought to you by The Ritual, the hit film coming out on Netflix very, very soon.
A film cannot be a hit before it's released.
According to Rotten Tomatoes, it's absolutely crushing it. So, and Rotten Tomatoes is a snarky website, and I believe it's at 72% right now. So, The Ritual doing very well.
All movies nowadays are presupposed to be a hit.
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to be. And honestly, what I liked about The Ritual immediately is that it reminded me of my friends.
Why? Because you want us all dead?
No, I don't want us all dead. It'd be fun to die together.
And yes, The Ritual will make a wonderful addition to your Valentine's Day.
If she likes horror movies, if he likes horror movies, make sure they're into the genre. But if they are, they're going to love this movie.
Well, this is one of those things. It's kind of like the other thing we did, where it's a story that's inspired by the media that's coming out. This one's inspired by The Ritual, so we're going to use the Ritual as a kind of like little jumping off point to tell you a story of a mysterious disappearance in the woods.
Okay.
This is the murder of the Cowden family.
Uh-oh.
Hell yeah.
So on August 30th, 1975, Richard Cowden took his wife, Belinda, their two small children, David and Melissa, and their basset hound, Droopy, on an impromptu camping trip to the Siskiyou Mountains near Copper, Oregon.
I like basset hounds because they name themselves.
Yes. Just flappies, the labias. This is my basset hound labias.
Yeah, that's nice.
The last person to see any of the Cowdens was the proprietor of the local general store, who sold Richard and his son a gallon of milk as they were on their way back to the campsite on their last day, September 1st.
I don't know if milk is a camping drink.
It goes
we used
bad
to
quick.
always bring milk on a camping trip.
I think
You always do. You always did.
I believe that the parks always picked up pickles and milk for every camping trip.
We're a milky family. Now, these people had been expected at Belinda's mother's house that night, as their campsite was only a mile away, and the plan was for a quick dinner on the way back home. But when they failed to show up, Belinda went searching. When she got to the campsite, the family was nowhere to be found, and it seemed as if they just walked away. Their car keys were on the picnic table, along with Belinda's purse, and the gallon of milk they'd bought earlier that day sat half full next to the keys.
It's actually quite a bit of milk to drink.
Yeah, it is for like a couple of hours, like 4 or 5 hours. I don't mean to be focused on that.
No, it is.
But that's like
interesting.
they sat and they chugged milk for a while, like it was a family game.
Well, maybe it
to
was.
see who. And Belinda always wins.
Why not?
Well, this is a mysterious disappearance, so any clue could be the secret to unlocking it. So maybe the empty half gallon of milk could be the key to this all.
You think Big Dairy did it? Is that what's happening here?
Is this a Big Dairy move? Because to me, they're always trying. The only way they would be that is if they had also purchased grape juice or some like Sunkissed. What's it? Remember the orange stuff? What was it? The
Sunny D?
Sunny D.
Sunny Delight. I imagine Big Dairy would want to kill a family to keep them from drinking Sunny Delight.
Oh, sure.
Well, stranger still was Richard's belongings. He had a prized wristwatch, expensive, and it lay on the ground next to his wallet, which contained $21. Not a small sum in 1974 money.
I mean, it's not a big sum.
It's not
big
the
enough to
Oregon
take.
Trail. I mean,
You specifically saying, I mean, $21. I guess if you're going to kill the family and not take the milk, then leaving the $21 like does mean something. So they just left. So it is they came back and the whole camp was just set up like they were in the middle of shit. And then they disappeared.
Well, not really.
Okay.
The strangest thing was that the only missing items were their bathing suits.
What?
Yeah, that's all that was missing. Everything else was there, but the bathing suits were gone.
okay.
So Belinda's mother called the cops, who, of course, waited another full day to begin investigating, as there were no signs of violence.
Okay.
It wasn't until the Cowden's basset hound, Droopy, showed up scratching at the front of the Copper General Store that cops finally took the whole thing seriously.
Was it covered in all the bathing suits?
Did the dog steal the bathing suits? That's a good question.
For 8 months, the police had not only no leads, but no evidence that anything had even happened. It wasn't until 8 months later that people found out what happened to the Cowdens, although to this day nobody knows exactly what happened or why. 2 gold prospectors, still apparently convinced they could still find gold in 1974, found Richard...
Yeah, that's
Why not?
very
It hasn't
probable.
all been mined out of there.
They found Richard Cowden's desiccated corpse tied to a tree 7 miles from the campsite from whence they vanished.
Well, Eureka!
Oh, my
come
gosh.
on, see what I found up them there hills. Come to... Oh, shit.
That is not gold.
Can we sell this? No, it's a dead father.
I don't think so.
They go for very little money.
A further search of the area uncovered a cave whose entrance had been blocked with rocks. And when the rocks were removed, investigators found the bodies of Melinda Cowden and the 2 small children. Although there was a supposed confession from a criminal out on parole at the time named Dwayne Lee Little, it seems highly unlikely he was involved and just happened to be in the area that day. It's likely that what happened to the Cowdens will forever remain a mystery.
All right.
It sounds like a thing that if Jesus came back and he was really pissed off and decided to take it out on people, that he would kill people just like he got fucking killed. Listen, if Jesus was a serial killer when he came back and he nailed the father to the tree like they did to him, and then he put him all in the cave and he put a whole bunch of rocks in front of it like they fucking did to him, he's like Jason.
I want to say that is not the end of the movie The Ritual. So there's no spoilers happening here. Make sure you go and check out this film.
Oh yeah, The Ritual, now streaming only on Netflix.
Watch it on Valentine's Day, grab your lover real close, or grab yourself because you're completely alone.
And now, back to Jonestown.
What a great segment, and I can't wait to see the movie The Ritual, Marcus.
We already did the ad, and we don't have to do it again.
So in November of 1978, Leo Ryan finally decided it was time for him to visit Jonestown on behalf of the United States government, supported by the Concerned Relatives Group. In addition to hearing the poison test stories from Debbie Layton, Ryan represented a district near San Francisco, so he had a vested interest. And ironically, Ryan also traveled to Jonestown because he was known to fight against social injustice, which he saw in spades from the stories coming from Jonestown.
Okay. Now, I'm only going to do this once because I know it gets really sad, but I think about Jonah Ryan from Veep every time you say Congressman Ryan. Jonad, which makes it fun.
So many Veep references.
Veep is the best show. It's an actual comedy. But I'm not going to think about that again.
Also, I would say that this Leo Ryan move to Jonestown and what happened to him is pretty much chronicles the last time a congressman ever did anything.
Yeah.
Like in terms of actively leaving or doing anything for any sort of constituents whatsoever, because it gets you killed sometimes because I guess they're not as popular as you think they'd be.
As they think they are, I guess.
Ryan sent a letter to Jim Jones informing him of his intentions weeks in advance, so Jones knew he was coming. Along with Leo Ryan went 2 staff members, 9 members of the media, and 13 Concerned Relatives members, including Tim and Grace Stone. This is Jones telling his people what was being said about him back in the United States in advance of Ryan's visit. They endured weeks of this shit, which only served to heighten tensions.
Self of a lie. They're filled with hate. They say I initiate people here. Every male I have to screw, and every female I screw, and that we cut up people, kill them, bury them, and eat them. They tell all kinds of vicious lies, anything that fits the purpose. Babies have been burned alive. They don't mind telling any kind of lie, and they feast on lies. Each one of them feasting on lies. They spend every wasted moment, every moment they're not at a job, talking about us, obsessed by us. We are their devil. They have to have something to keep them going because their life is so empty.
I mean, it's like people are also thinking about the Hoosiers. And I know in Wisconsin they think about the Pack Attack quite a bit. This is just unbelievable, the self-obsession here.
I mean, obviously, he is a narcissist, and he's making everybody obsessed with him as well, because that's where, again, we've always talked about is that when you're in a cult, you're in the cult leader's brain. You're now an extension of him.
Oh, sure.
But also, there are nuggets of truth in what he's saying, which is he does fuck all the women and all the men, and everything else is lies. But it was kind of, I wonder how that is for people in Jonestown when you hear it saying like they're spouting all these lies, saying that I make love to every man and woman, and they're like, you do, Dad, But, I mean, you fuck me.
Also, I do want to point out to the audience that Henry has lost his shirt.
He has.
At some point during this recording, now you are fully, however, more clothed, it looks like, on account of your hair. But so I do
I
want to...
spilled some of my coffee, and I didn't want it to get it on the computer, so I had to use my shirt because we were on a roll.
Okay, all right. Just want to keep everyone up to date on the shirt status of Henry Zabrowski.
Well, no one back in the United States is saying that they burn babies or kill babies or eat babies or anything like that. No one's saying that. But Jim Jones is telling these people that they're saying that. And they're saying that people like Ryan is coming and saying that. And on top of that, like Tim Stone is coming. This villain that Jones has created for such a long time, like all of the villains are coming. And we know they're coming. They are absolutely coming this time. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So people endure this shit for weeks. They hear every single night. So by the time Ryan shows up, people are fucking terrified. They are on edge. Jones is walking around with his armed guards at all times. Like these shit is reaching a boiling point by the time before Ryan even shows up.
I mean, if you're Congressman Ryan, you got to be like, hey, have you been saying bad shit about me or something? Because I just feel like they don't like me at all. I don't even know them.
Yeah, the vibe is off in here. It's like I had a bad opener. You know what I mean? It's just like, what can I do? It's like an opener can't be that good, but he also can't be too good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's got to set the stage for the headliner. But when Leo Ryan showed up, honestly, that's what he'd been doing, right? Is he'd been telling all these lies about what was going to happen when he came, and he was kind of getting normal correspondence from them.
Yeah.
Like they were kind of like had like a normal thing. He'd said that they were planning to come. They didn't realize the inner debate that was happening inside of Jonestown to like if he even could come to the compound. But a part of me wonders if Jones knew the second that Marsland convinced him that they should let Leo Ryan in, as if this was going to be the final couple of days. I really wonder if he knew.
Well, Ryan didn't even want to go into Jonestown. Like his entire plan was he was going to go, he was going to have a nice little trip to South America, he was going to go to the gates of Jonestown, they'd say you're not coming in, and he was going to go back to America and be a politician. He was going to open a congressional hearing, and then it wouldn't be his fucking problem anymore.
Oh, so being a politician means just getting together in a room with a bunch of other fucking idiots and doing nothing?
Yes.
But you feel like you did something because everyone had a good long talk about it. And then he also got a free trip to South America. And you know what I mean? You don't think that he would just go to Guyana and dip his toe in Jonestown and leave. There'd be a little bit of partying, a little bit of oi, 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 oi. I'm not sure how they party, but there'd be a lot of drinking sambuca. Actually, I don't know what they drink in South America, but stuff like that, where it's like he'd have on a vacation too. Fucking congressman, pieces of shit.
Always finding time to party.
Well, Ryan, I mean, we can't malign the name of Leo Ryan. He was actually a good man.
I know.
Yes.
I'm just saying, I have a disdain for congressmen in general that gets expressed.
Yeah, Leo Ryan was a good dude. But unfortunately for him and everyone involved, Jones decided after a lot of pressure from his lawyers and Marsland that Ryan should be let in. Because they believed that Ryan was the key to their survival. Because like Marsland, she was a good woman. She didn't want anyone to die. And the lawyers, they didn't want to lose their meal ticket and presumably didn't want anyone to die either. This was the reasonable Jonestown contingent because there was still reasonable people there. That's what you hear again and again, especially from people like, Tim Carter being like, this was not this was not necessarily a huge hive mind. There was some sort of hive mind going on, but there were a lot of reasonable people around going like, hey, wait a minute. Like, we need to slow this shit down. Like, we like what's going on here with the socialist society, but all this other shit we don't want.
Now, when Marsland, was she not involved in... She was not involved in the first White Night. She was out of town, right?
I think so.
She was in the United States?
I think that was before she came, yeah. By the time Marsland got there, it was way out of hand.
Okay.
So up until then, the reports are rich, because Marsland was a part of the original, like, the burgeoning, like, cutting the jungle, getting Jonestown in there. A part of their big argument was like, we have done this beautiful thing. We are creating a pure socialist society where everyone takes care of each other. All of the best qualities of everyone is being used. She doesn't really understand quite how dark it's gotten. So part of her big push and everyone on the inside being like, let Ryan see what we've built. Yeah. Like, we have this thing. We have the city in the sky. What was that term? Like on the mountaintop. We made the PL. We made the promised land.
Yeah.
but she didn't fully understand the extent of how bad things were really getting.
Yeah, it sounds like when your college roommate is like, come to the bathroom, I got something to show you, and it's just a turd. And it's like a big one, and you're like, okay, thank you. Yeah.
Well, I think Marceline also somewhat willfully ignored a lot of the bad shit that was going on. I think she thought that Leo Ryan could come in because it had happened before where people had traveled down to Jonestown, like family members had traveled down, and they clean up their act. When those family members are there, when the outside people are there, they clean up their act for a few days. Right. They don't do anything awful, and then the family members go back and say, like, actually, it looks pretty cool. Like everyone's really enjoying themselves there, and they could have done the exact same thing with Leo Ryan. But there was another contingent involved in Jonestown, the ones that were preparing for Armageddon, or at least their own personal Armageddon.
You think they get off on the lie? Like the whole community, when the person comes in, they pretend to be so nice, like the movie House of Wax, and then as soon as they go, then they're like, and this is like, do you think they, they like it?
Yeah, they get away with it.
I think it's the part of which, I think when we originally started talking about Jim Jones in the first couple episodes, we kind of used the idea that he's like a serial killer that used a group of people as a weapon against itself. This is where the serial killer the compartmentalization of his personality, I think, comes in, because a part of it's the joy of getting one over on somebody. Right. There's like a thing here that we're hoodwinking people. We're living double lives, and the thrill of that is pretty intense. Like he loves that one. We have all these inner sanctums. There are people on a need to know basis about what's really happening here. But I also think they also openly expressed that a part of having Leo Ryan come was they thought they could relieve from some pressure is if he comes and takes out the people who don't want to be there. Marceline actually wanted that to happen. She wanted the people who didn't want to be there to get a chance to leave, and that Leo Ryan would be the kind of ticket for that. It would be a good way. It would soothe Jim Jones. It would be like a thing where he comes in, hopefully gives a blessing to everything, and takes just the small quotient of people who want to leave out, and then what that'll do will allow the rest of us to kind of live a peaceful life here without all these people complaining all the time.
Yeah. But there were a lot of people that were not into that, specifically Carolyn Layton. She drew up a memo called Analysis of Future Prospects, in which she outlined all the reasons why Jonestown had no chance of survival in any way whatsoever. In a subsection titled A Final Stand If Decided On, she casually wrote about a final solution should things go south with Congressman Ryan, outlining how the mass suicide could most efficiently be carried out. Casually. Well, maybe we'll behead each other. Maybe we'll shoot each other. Maybe we'll take pills. What do you think?
Guillotine.
They always say guillotine.
Right?
They act like a guillotine. First of all, it took me 7 hours to put together the clothes drawer, like the set of drawers I have from IKEA.
Oh, yeah.
In my bedroom, right? And I'm a fucking moron. And there's a set of instructions. If you order a guillotine, it is not only going to come disassembled.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think that they're going to give you instructions on how to build it. I think a guillotine's like, well, if you can figure out, good luck. Also, you're going to need to find your own guillotine blade, which is the hardest part of a guillotine.
Absolutely.
So you want to you act like it's the simple solution, but that's like hundreds of man hours that you just casually wrote down, Carolyn, thinking that we could just build all these guillotines lickety-split. We got Leo Ryan coming in a week.
That's a relatively recent Alex Jones conspiracy, as a matter of fact, that the government's going to kill us with guillotines, which is not even an effective way to do it.
That's not recent at all.
Within 5 years or so.
I guess so.
No, it's been forever.
It's so stupid.
No, dude, Bill Cooper was saying it.
Oh, that was Bill Cooper.
Yeah, it started with Bill Cooper.
The whole point of guillotines is to do the mass suicide, because what it does is build up the organ energy of people lying in terror of the blade, and when the blade drops, the spurting of blood acquires a lot of magic energy, and that is what they're supposed to be using to open up the pyramids to let the reptilians in.
It all makes perfect sense.
Well, this memo from Carolyn Layton, like, it has echoes of correspondence you read between Nazis about, like, the concentration camps, the best way to kill everyone. It has that banality to it. You know, they talk about this shit like we talk about, like, planning out a fucking episode.
We're fairly serious.
Now, I think we got like a chicken and egg situation here. Did Layton plant the seed of inevitability in Jones's mind with a memo? Or did Jones plant the seed in Layton's mind, which led Layton to write it, feeding back into Jones's own deadly desires? Jones.
Did they hashtag release this memo, or did people know about this, or was this was a top secret memo?
This was a top secret, and I don't even know who else saw it. It might have just been between Carolyn Layton and Jim Jones, because they found so much documentation and so many tapes after everyone killed themselves. Now, either way, whether Jones planted it in Layton's mind or Layton planted it in Jones, when you look at how fast and efficiently all this happened, it was obvious that this seed had fully bloomed before Ryan even arrived. But just before Ryan arrived, though, Marcelin insisted Jones let their sons travel to Georgetown for a week of exhibition basketball games, because Jonestown had a basketball team.
They did. Yeah. What are the Jonestown boys? What's their name?
It was called the South Guyana Thin Men. Very malnourished. And they would show up, apparently, they would go... and they would lose. They're a very bad basketball team, but they loved it. It was the way they did. But Jim Jones would always spout the scores from the games, and we whooped them again. We whooped them, and that's all we do. We whoop them, and we whoop them, and whoop across this great country. Meanwhile, it's like they are traveling with the ball constantly because they don't have the energy to dribble, and everyone else just lets them do it because they know they're from Jonestown.
Yeah, they were terrible. They constantly lost, and they were having to come back after Jones told everyone that they had won, and eventually, they lost so much that Jones would just lie about how much they lost by.
Oh, but he did admit they lost. So he's making steps towards the truth.
It's so sad. Can you imagine honestly going through all of this shit? You love basketball, and then you're sitting there. Obviously you're one of the chosen ones. You're here hanging out in Jonestown as a child, so you're actually having an okay time. But having to lie, that level of lie, has got to be depressing.
It's ridiculous.
Well, this brings up another question about Marcelin sending the boys out. Was this a calculated move on Marcelin's part to remove at least a couple of her children from ground zero, the place where shit was most likely to go down?
Was it a calculated move for her to remove some of her children from ground zero?
Or was it a coincidence?
I don't know.
I wonder, the more and more we learn about Marcelin, especially from McGee, is that it seems like it may be calculated.
Yeah.
It seems like she may have sent them out, because she did this a couple of times with the other kids. She always kind of whatever opportunity she could to get the kids out, she took.
Yeah. Right. Either way, it's a tragedy.
Of course.
Stephen Jones himself has said on multiple occasions that he and his mother together were the only people who could talk Jim Jones out of his dumber ideas. Leaving Jonestown saved the lives of Stephen and Jim Jr. and a few dozen others, but the absence of their cool heads may have doomed everyone else. And this is no fault of their own. This is just a tragedy of history. But had they been there, it's possible they might have been able to stop it. Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe just
it
delaying
seems
the
like that
inevitable.
train, once that train left the station,
right,
it seemed like by the end, especially, we're going to find out with the fates of everybody involved, what we see end up happening is that whatever it would have been delaying the inevitable.
Yeah.
Until either they really truly did get in trouble with the U.S. or Guyanese government, or they finally just did their version of the final solution.
Yeah, it's like when they cut the brakes of John Candy's car and Who
killed Harry Crumb.
No,
who is Harry Crumb?
Who was Harry? Is that what it's called? Who's Harry Crumb?
Who's Harry Crumb?
Oh,
Yeah,
that movie's great. But once he starts going, you're not stopping.
You know what? When I sat down and re-listened to the death tape again, the only thing I could think of was John Candy. And I'm just glad you brought him up.
No problem. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Legend.
So on November 17th, 1978, Congressman Ryan and 19 others chartered a plane and flew to the small potholed airstrip in Port Kaituma. After being greeted by Jonestown settlers, only Congressman Ryan, an aide, and 8 members of the media were allowed to go. The 9th, from the National Enquirer, was refused admission due to an earlier beef with Jim Jones.
He had a feud with the National Enquirer?
Yeah.
That's great.
And when the group arrived in Jonestown, they found a near paradise. Because settlers had worked even harder than usual in the days leading up to the visit to make it seem like Jonestown was a well-oiled machine full of the happiest people on earth. And the rehearsals had somewhat worked too. Here is a couple of statements from settlers on that day, as shown in the PBS documentary, which is why there's the creepy music underneath.
Are you happy here?
Oh, I should say I am. I've never been any happier in my life.
You want to stay?
Definitely. I certainly do.
Some people have said they couldn't leave if they wanted to. Do you think you could?
Yeah, if I really wanted to, I'm free to go. if I was really wanted to, I'd be able to figure it out.
So brainwashed at this point.
Brainwashed, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's brainwashed.
No?
No, I don't know if brainwashing
Do you think that
is
they
the
knew
right
they were
word to
even
use.
lying?
What's that?
I mean, do you think they knew that they were lying in that situation?
I think so.
I think so. I think they know that they're lying. I think a part of it in the end is what they've been indoctrinated. Actually, Marcus, I think maybe, not that you're wrong, but I think that this is actually the face of what brainwashing actually is. You're not actually an automaton. I think that's kind of the thing that everybody gets confused about cults in general, is that they think that you become this kind of like brainless like robot. When Om Shinrikyo is probably the closest.
Yes.
That this came to that. This is people making a willing choice. What they have now been constantly indoctrinated to believe is a means to an end, that we have to do this to keep our perfect society alive. We're now in the growing pains of a perfect society. That's why it's not good right now. That's actually, to me, brainwashing at its most insidious, where they are fully convinced that what they're doing is right, and that they'll do anything to protect it, including lying. So a part of it's they're actively lying, but the brainwashing's the layer deeper.
And there were some people there. I mean, there definitely were people in Jonestown that were of that ilk, that were definitely true believers that were like that far in, that were lying, but that thought that this was a means to an end. But I mean, I think when you start to see like the defectors coming out, there were definitely some people that saw something wrong going on here, and wanted to get the fuck out. I don't. It's the hold on that Jim Jones had on his people is it was tenuous and strong at the same time. It was very strong on some people and very, very loose on others. Now that night, Jim Jones met this whole group at the pavilion, and everyone had dinner in honor of Congressman Ryan and even a couple of concerned relatives. But they didn't have the usual rice mixed in with specks of meat. That was the norm at Jonestown. People's Temple dipped into the piggery, as they did only when guests came, and served a nice pork dish.
Have I made the joke about how that sounds like a bank run by pigs?
Many times.
Okay.
Many times. But what I will say is that eventually I will own a bar called the Piggery.
Oh, I'm going.
So that we can always say that I got to go take a dip into the Piggery, and you go, man, that would be so much fun. And have make hot girls dressed up as hogs. Like you get a bunch of like hot girls, you make it like a bikini bar, and you get like hot dudes too, dressed with piggy noses and little piggy ears. That's kind of fun, right? That's good.
It sounds like you're like a Ukrainian like billionaire. I don't.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
If I ever get real money, if I get $1 million, everybody's going to be fucked. Everyone talks about Elon Musk. I'm like, I'm actually pro Elon Musk. I love that he sent a car to space. Because he can.
Why not?
He's a billionaire. And when I'm a billionaire, if I'm ever a billionaire, I'm wearing an exoskeleton everywhere I go. One of those big mech warrior things. And I'm going to terrorize people on the street.
Elon Musk is the only reason we have a space program. You're talking about having people wear pig costumes and serving beer. So I feel like one might be $1 billion idea, and the other one is a pig costume that has beer service.
I am a modern day Elon Musk. I'm next gen Elon Musk.
Oh, okay.
Well, dinner was followed with testimonies and a special performance by the Jonestown Express.
Ooh, cool.
They were really good.
They were great.
If you listen, if you go to the beginning of this chapter in the PBS documentary and they show some singing from it, the girl that was the lead singer of Jonestown Express is fucking incredible.
All
Yeah.
right.
And in the middle of all that, Congressman Ryan got on the microphone and said a few words.
I think that all of you know that I'm here to find out more about questions that have been raised about your operation here. But I can tell you right now that from the few conversations I've had with some of the folks here already this evening, that whatever the comments are, there are some people here who believe that this is the best thing that ever happened to them in their whole life.
Jeez. It's crazy. It's like Led Zeppelin or something.
Dude, I cut the cheering off because it goes on longer.
The cameraman said that I had never seen anything like this. Like he sat there, the sound that came out of him is like, I had never heard anything like this. And one of the followers turned to him and says, like, it's because you've never seen anything like this.
That was Tim
Which
Carter.
is very, yes, that's really intense. That's very, very intense. But also, I think in that noise, you hear almost I think everybody kind of read a little bit of the writing on the wall, thinking that this was going to be the end times. And I think a part of what we're hearing is relief of, okay, he's cool. we don't have to all kill ourselves. Yeah. Like, this is like, we just bought time. Yeah. We're just here. We did it. We did the big hurdle, what we thought was going to be the big hurdle. Now we can really start living our socialist utopia.
Yeah. Okay. We did it. You know, like they
we won.
Yeah. They saw a huge victory right in front of him. You know, he would leave and everything would be great and no one was going to die.
Okay.
But while all these good times were happening, a settler named Vernon Gosney had passed a note to Don Harris of NBC because Vernon thought that Don Harris was Congressman Leo Ryan. And the note read, "Vernon Gosney and Monica Bagsby, please help us get out of Jonestown."
Ooh, that's chilling.
Now, Vernon tried to be smooth with it, but since he was nervous as hell, he got butterfingers and dropped the note as he was passing it. And when he picked it back up and handed the note to Harris, a little kid saw him and said, "He passed a note! He passed a note!"
Which is what all of the kids were trained to do. The kids were trained to rat on everybody, which is another strike against having a child. But it's very similar to, you've ever seen the movie White Ribbon?
No.
It's about as the Nazi party is rising in Germany, and it's about like the kids in this school where essentially like the thought process of the Nazis had kind of like boiled down into the kids, and so the kids became really scary because essentially it became informants for the state, which is basically what they were going for with the Nazi youth movement. And you see it here, where in this little moment where you could see how like a child is weaponized with thought.
Right.
It's very intense.
Yeah. Now, Jones did nothing that night, although he almost certainly knew about the note. It's almost impossible for Jones to not have heard about one of his settlers passing a note to one of the reporters.
Right.
Now, the media had to go back to Port Kaituma to sleep, but Ryan spent the night in Jonestown without incident. I think if the plan all along was to just kill Ryan, he could have done it then.
Right.
Like very, very easily. Slit his throat in his sleep. That would be it. Once again, Jones was improvising, but he was prepared. The next day, on November 18th, 1978, what Jones had been preparing his people for over the course of almost a decade finally came to fruition. Ryan awoke early and was almost immediately met with people ready to get the hell out of Jonestown. In fact, people had already started to go. Overnight, 11 settlers had seen the writing on the wall and had escaped through the jungle.
But also, this shows the true congressman spirit of Leo Ryan, because when he showed up, he didn't show up with any plan to get people out of there. He just showed up really expecting, I'm not even going to be able to get in there. I get to go party in Guyana and then leave. I know it's his job, and I know he was technically doing a very good job, and he was there. I'm trying to malign him. But what I will say is that he had no backup plan. And so when he showed up, all of these people are now coming at him saying like, "Hey, we want to get the fuck out of here." And he's like, "Uh-oh, what the fuck do I do now?"
Right.
Now, Jones himself didn't appear until noon, and as soon as Jones walked out of his hut, he was told about the overnight escapes and the defectors who'd approached Ryan. Jones and Marceline took some of the defectors aside, the ones who were still there, and tried to convince them to stay, but none were persuaded. He especially tried to use Marceline. When Marceline was like, "We're going to do reforms, we're going to change everything. I know you're not happy here. I know you've had a hard time, but we're going to change. Believe me, we're going to change."
Yeah, maybe just change the name to like Uncle Grumpy's Circus Fun.
That's how you do. You start with the name.
Yeah, change it.
Yeah, there were whole families that were leaving, like the Parks family. They'd been with Jones since Indiana, and they told Ryan that they were prisoners in Jonestown and begged to be taken away. And the Bogue family, who counted 6, said pretty much the same thing. Because, I mean, the head of the Bogue household, he'd been getting ripped on by Jim Jones for weeks, if not months at that point. He was one of Jim Jones's whipping boys, so he was like, "We can get out of here. Let's get out of here." Parents took children. They left their spouses behind. They'd caused just complete and total chaos. And loyalists verbally attacked the defectors, and they were calling them traitors. And then the news crew cornered Jones for a torturous, desperate 45-minute long interview. Here's an excerpt.
"Last night, someone came and passed me this note."
He's the one that I'm just talking about. Yeah, this is the man that wants to leave his son here.
Doesn't it concern you, though, that this man, for whatever reason, one of the people in your group...
People play games, friend. They lie. What can I do about liars? Are you people going to leave us? I just beg you, please leave us. Bill, we will bother nobody. Anybody wants to get out of here can get out of here. We have no problem about getting out here. They come and go all the time. I don't know what kind of game. People like people like publicity. Some people do. I don't. But some people like publicity. But if it's so damn bad, why is he leaving his son here? Can you give me a good reason for that?
Well, you're also here when you listen to that. Remember, hear that noise in the background. At this point, it's fucking fever pitch. Right, you're seeing Jim Jones. He's lost kind of a lot of his powers at this point. He's saying weird, dumb shit about him playing a game and doing all stuff, which is obviously he's been exposed. He's sitting there, he's talking to people while everyone around him's starting to fucking freak out. Because they're trying to pull out, like Leo Ryan and the crew's trying to leave, and people are like, "Take my fucking kid," and trying to like jump in with them on the party. But Leo Ryan doesn't have any fucking room on the plane.
Right.
So here they're all like having this like ongoing negotiation at the foothills of Jonestown trying to get out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jim Jones is doing whatever frantic shit he can try to keep everybody in play.
Now, as the people continue to scream at each other and have these very, very public fights, the rain came. A fall storm descended upon the settlement, torrential rains and howling wind. Tim Carter, in an oft-quoted line, said it felt like evil blowing into Jonestown. And by the time the storm had passed, 15 people had decided to leave. Along with the 11 that had escaped overnight, the total number of defectors stood at 26. Now, to put that into perspective, that was less than 3% of the Jonestown population.
Wow.
Now, the lawyers, they were fully prepared to lose 3 times that. They were like, yeah, if we lose 10%, great. And they would have considered that a victory.
Wow.
26, that was beyond their wildest hopes.
Yeah, they did good. They technically that was not bad. That was not a bad loss. And honestly, it would have helped some shit because they're all sleeping fucking on top of each other. Probably really good to have lost like 30 bodies so that there's some more room out there.
Yeah, and the lawyers in Marceline also figured like, hey, this is going to take the wind out of Leo Ryan's sails because he went down, he did his due diligence, only 26 people left, 3% left, and so Ryan's not really going to have enough people to go back for a congressional hearing, especially after Jim Jones let him in. Like Marceline and the lawyer's plan, it worked. It totally worked. Like everything was on track. But Jones didn't see it that way. He saw it as an ultimate betrayal. One person would have been too many, much less 26. To him, the 26 was only a beginning. And he very well may have been right. Of course, we'll never know. Either way, he wasn't going to give them the chance to leave. Not the 26, nor the 908 who decided to stay. Jones decided it was time for the final white night. The original plan was that Jones would send Larry Layton, Carolyn's brother, along with Ryan as a would-be defector. And Larry Layton did go along, but he brought with him his gun. And the plan was that as soon as the plane was in the air, Layton was supposed to take out the gun and shoot the pilot in the head, and that would crash the plane into the jungle. And this had nothing to do with keeping Ryan from telling his story and everything to do with giving Jonestown one last push.
What's with brothers-in-law doing fucked up shit? Like, honestly, why is it always like my brother-in-law... like my sister's first husband, I had to go and help him run booze one time into this dry county that his buddy was in upstate Florida. And I had to do that. He also had a whole pile of Nugget and Butt magazine. That was like all this stuff. It's like in a big trash bag. Why is it always brothers-in-law?
I don't know. I think that might just be more of your sister's dating choices on that one. But
yeah, Larry Layton was Carolyn's brother-in-law, yes.
Okay.
Now, this action, killing Leo Ryan, it would make Jones's oft-repeated fantasies that the United States was coming after them a reality. A dead congressman would ensure that.
Yep.
They were coming. The problem was there were more defectors than Jones had planned on, as we said. That meant that Jones had to call a second plane to bring them all. And now that there were 2 planes, there was no guarantee that Layton would be on the same plane as Ryan.
Well, think about this shit, too. There's all of this chaos is happening at Jonestown. Storm comes in. Now nobody's leaving. It's torrential downpour. People are freaking out. Jim Jones and his contingent has gone off to the side. They are already putting the final White Knight into order. Leo Ryan has got to figure out how to get a plane to back to the airfield, and so he has to arrange all this shit from the offices of Jonestown. He is calling the Guyanese government, doing all this shit. It's it's massive chaos.
Yeah. And then at the last minute, Ryan decided to stay behind, just in case more people decided to defect. So once more, Jones improvised. Now, we don't know for sure which order Jim Jones gave or if Jim Jones even gave an order, but some believe that Jones took aside a loyalist named Don Ujara Sly and told him to cut the congressman's throat then and there.
That's how you know you've become acclimated to the jungle, is if you change your own name to Ujara and you're from Indiana.
Now, Sly walked up to Ryan and held the knife to his neck, but Sly hesitated, and in that moment of hesitation, Tim Carter and Mike Lane, the conspiracist lawyer, wrestled him away. And then when they wrestled him away, they accidentally cut Sly's hand in the process and showered Ryan with blood, which is why in the pictures you see of Leo Ryan after he left, he's covered in blood.
Well, they said that he acted, it was kind of haunting the way that Ujara acted, is that he showed up and he was like a Manchurian candidate where he walked up to Leo Ryan and just said the words, "Motherfucker, it's time for you to die." And then he was crying, viciously crying. He went up to, and he slowly put the knife up to his throat and then just froze. And it's just, he wasn't prepared to kill. He couldn't kill, he couldn't do it. And so they pulled him down, and it's just, how insane is that? Because I don't know if have you been mugged, Kissel or Marcus?
Yeah, I've been mugged.
When I got mugged, there's a part of being assaulted on the street or something like that, which I don't know if people know, where you kind of almost feel in shock, where you're not even sure what's happening, where you're looking at me and am I being mugged right now? Where you have to ask the question, and you could see the look on Leo Ryan's face where he's like, oh shit, I was just almost murdered.
It's crazy. So I mean, I was just thinking about when he was helping people out in the black community with electricity bills and stuff like that, and how it got to this point. It's just insane.
That's the great tragedy of it.
My goodness.
Now, after that, Ryan figured it was about time for him to get the fuck out of Dodge. So
that's the... Well, you know what? Ding, ding, ding. That's the indicator. Time to go.
Check, please. And then he's the first person to actually use check, please, and it worked because the plane showed.
Ryan caught up with the truck that had been carrying the defectors and the media back to the airstrip. He hopped on and he told them, drive as fast as you can and get us out of here. Now, it's possible that Jones was trying to take Ryan out on the spot, but it's equally as possible that he was just trying to scare Ryan away. But either way, Jones was not going to let Leo Ryan leave Guyana alive. On Jones's command, a heavily armed crew of 8, the Red Brigade, hopped in a tractor trailer and took off after the congressman. Jones then called up the People's Temple offices in Georgetown and gave the code that it was time to die. Now remember, Stephen and Jim Jones were in Georgetown for a basketball game. Stephen was at the Georgetown headquarters at the time when they received this code. A lot of people have gone to see Mr. Frazier. I think Mrs. Brownfield has offered to help. Now translated, that meant people were dead, and it's time for you to die as well. So Sharon Amos, one of Jones's most loyal, relayed the message to the People's Temple offices in San Francisco. Now, Stephen Jones, he tried his best to save everyone in Jonestown. He even wanted to go back to Jonestown because he knew what the code meant. But he knew, one, there wasn't enough time. They'd have to charter a plane or take a boat, and get all the way back there. And even if there was enough time, they didn't have any weapons. There were 25 armed guards in Jonestown that would have taken them down immediately. And Stephen almost saved everyone in the Capitol. But in a moment of distraction, when Stephen wasn't looking, Sharon Amos locked herself and her 3 kids in the bathroom, along with a man named Chuck Beekman, and slit her kids' throats before opening up her own. Oof. Back in the jungle, Leo Ryan and the others had reached the airstrip unharmed. But as they were loading into the second plane, with one plane already taxiing down the runway, the 8 gunmen arrived. Down the airstrip, a group of Guyanese soldiers watched from a distance where they were guarding a broken-down Guyanese plane, completely independent of this entire situation.
Oh, yeah, they're just sitting, just hanging out, just doing their job. And all of a sudden, all these people start opening up fire at each other, and then they just didn't intervene because they didn't want to get in the middle of a bunch of Americans fighting each other, which I can actually sort of understand, where they're just like, this is above my fucking pay grade. I'm not going to go and I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, the Guyanese soldiers get involved, and all of a sudden, you've got a diplomatic incident.
Right.
You've got an even bigger problem than these people killing each other, because now your guys are involved. At this point, the Guyanese government can say, like, hey, listen, we just gave them the land. We didn't know what they were doing out there. So the soldiers just watched as the gunmen opened fire. Now, it was a good thing for Jones that he sent the crew, because Layton was already on the first plane without Ryan, and that plane was about to take off. But even though Larry Layton at this point really didn't have any reason to, he took the cue from the gunman and started shooting his pistol anyway, and he wounded Monica Bagsby and Vernon Gosney. Those are the ones who had passed the note in the first place. Layton was disarmed by defector Dale Parks, but by the time the gunman drove off, 9 were wounded and 5 people, including Congressman Leo Ryan, were dead on the ground. The gunman could have easily finished everyone off, but instead, they focused on Ryan and the reporters, the ones who had pissed off Jones the most. They pumped Ryan's body, in particular, full of bullets, shot him in the face to make sure, and drove back to Jonestown, where the final white night was beginning. The settlers were called to the pavilion in almost calm tones, so calm that people assumed Jones just wanted to talk about what happened that day. They didn't know about Ryan just yet, but they would soon find out. Armed guards surrounded the pavilion. This had been done during previous white nights, especially during practice runs. But this time, it felt real. The energy was different. And someone heard Jones ask, "Can you make it taste less bitter?" So with most of the settlers present, Jim Jones turned on his microphone and began speaking.
How very much I've loved you. How very much I've tried my best to give you the good life. But in spite of all of that I've tried, a handful of our people with their lies have made our life impossible. There's no way to detach ourselves from what's happened today. Not only we're in a compound situation, not only are there those who have left and committed the betrayal of the century, some have stolen children from others, and they're in pursuit right now to kill them because they stole their children. And we are sitting here waiting on a powder keg.
As Jones gave his speech, Larry Schacht continued to prepare the potion. Somewhere in the camp already laid the bodies of those who had been Dr. Schacht's test subjects, possible volunteers who gave their lives like they used to give blood for Jones's stigmata. It soon became clear what was happening, and only one person stood up and spoke out, 60-year-old Christine Miller. Back in California, Christine had been a successful real estate broker, just like anyone you'd meet on the street. She had more than a few times publicly disagreed with Jones during meetings, and had once stood defiantly, demanding Jones respect her, all while he was holding his .357 Magnum to her head, screaming at her. She, one of the few people who wasn't afraid to tell Jim Jones when he was wrong, stood up on the last day and asked him why they couldn't go to Russia as he'd promised.
Do you think Russia's going to want... No, not going to... We're not, you think Russia's going to want us with all this stigma? We had some value, but now we don't have any value.
Well, I don't see it like that. I mean, I feel like that as long as there's life, there's hope. That's my faith.
Well, everybody dies. Someplace that hope runs out because everybody dies. I haven't seen anybody yet that didn't die. And I like to choose my own kind of death for a change. I'm tired of being tormented to hell. That's what I'm tired of. Tired of it.
There were some seniors in the back who agreed with Christine, but they were in the minority. The only responses on microphone she got were in support of the plan and in support of Jim Jones.
I think I still have a right to my own opinion.
I'm not taking it from you. I'm not taking it from you.
Christine, you're only standing here because he was here in the first place. So I don't know what you're talking about, having an individual life. Your life has been extended to the day that you're standing there because of him.
Then, after Christine had been shouted down and Jones continued justifying what was about to happen, the assassins returned and delivered the news that their mission was a success.
It's all over, all over. What a legacy, what a legacy. But the Red Brigade's the only ones that ever made any sense anyway. They invaded our privacy, they came into our home, they followed us 6,000 miles away. The Red Brigade showed them justice. The congressman's dead.
With that, Dr. Schacht had his cue. He, flanked by his nurses, walked out to the side of the stage with syringes filled with Flavor Aid and cyanide. The children were to be first.
Please get us some medication. It's simple, there's no convulsions with it, it's just simple, just please get it. Before it's too late, the GDF will be here. I tell you, get moving, get moving, get moving. Don't be afraid to die. If these people land out here, they'll torture some of our children here. They'll torture our people, they'll torture our seniors. We cannot have this.
The first one to go was a woman in her 20s carrying a months-old baby in her arms. She went willingly and took her child with her, but not all of the parents were so eager. Armed guards forced them to the front, where one by one, nurses plunged the syringes full of cyanide into the children's mouths. Parents were given the choice to go at the same time as their children, a choice Jones unironically called humane. And despite what Jones said, it is a terrible death. It's cyanide. You convulse. Your mouth fills with a foam of vomit and saliva and blood, suffocating you. Drink to death, it took each individual member of People's Temple anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes to die. And as this was happening, as babies and toddlers and children were lying on the grass, foaming from the mouth, people still praised Jim Jones.
I said I never wanted to live with you guys, so this is what I did. And I appreciate you for everything. You're the only, and I appreciate you.
Until the end, there were people almost fighting to get to the microphone, all to thank him. And the banality continued. This is Maria Katsaris giving directions.
You have to move, and the people that are standing there in the aisle stay in the radio room yard, but everybody get behind the table and back this way, okay? There's nothing to worry about. Everybody keep calm and try and keep your children calm. And the older children can help love the little children and reassure them. They aren't crying from pain. It's just a little bitter tasting, but they're not crying out of any pain.
Then, when people started seeing what was actually happening, the scope of it, the enormity that this was actually real, that whole families were dying before their eyes, Jones rushed them.
Hurry, hurry, my children, hurry. All I say does not fall into the hands of the enemy. Hurry, my children. Hurry. The seniors out here that I'm concerned about. Hurry. I don't want to leave my seniors to this mess. Quickly, 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 quickly.
Now, there are quite a few edits on the tape, so it's hard to put forth a specific timeline. Jones had a pause button on his microphone, which he seemed to turn on and off without reason. And we don't know how long it took to murder all of the children. In all, the number of kids killed sits at 270. To put that into perspective, that is 14 times more than the number of kids that died in the Murrah building in Oklahoma City. We don't know how long it took to kill the kids, but we do know by the time the adults began, they were still in the process. These are the last recorded words of Jim Jones, spoken as the adults began scooping cups full of poison out of a vat with a big green C printed on the side.
We've set an example for others. We've set 1,000 people who say we don't like the way the world is. Please stop. Take our life from us. We laid it down. We got tired. We didn't commit suicide. We committed an act of revolutionary suicide protesting the conditions of an inhumane world.
It's estimated that from the first syringe to the last cup, it took about 4 hours to kill the vast majority of the 909 who died. The number of survivors that day at Jonestown stood at 7.
Shit. 4 hours of that. It's 4 hours of the worst time in your life. And so add that to the actual death by cyanide. This is just, it's terrifying. It's terrifying what it can all lead to. Like, all of this started as a guy just wanting to help people in Indiana, I guess, or a person that, do you remember when he was into airplanes? Jim Jones was really into airplanes at 7. He could have worked for Delta.
A lot has changed.
Yeah. Now, the Carter brothers, Tim and Mike, they were sent with Mike Prokes to Georgetown with a suitcase full of cash that was to be delivered to the Russian embassy. Tim Carter found his wife and child moments after they'd taken the poison, and they died in his arms. And as they died, he decided he was going to survive.
Well, he was working on a plan to try to get them out because he realized what the fuck was happening. When he got this detail allowing him to leave, he was going to try and take them. And when he found them, essentially mid-dying, the way he described he said his wife looked confused. That's the thing that's it fucks with me. There's a thing about a big idea where she was like, what did I do? In the middle of it.
Yeah. Odell Rhodes had simply walked up to the guards and said he didn't want to die. They parted, let him pass, and said, have a nice life.
Jesus Christ. It's just how many people are like, we could have just done that?
I mean, there's a lot of debate on that. As to how many people could have done that and how many people would have done that.
Yes.
Now, as far as what Odell saw that day, he said one girl refused to go quietly. She just kept spitting the poison out again and again and again. Other survivors, like Stanley Clayton, said he saw people being injected. Now, bodies were found with needles bent in their arms, obviously injected by force. But Grover Davis, who saved himself by hiding in a ditch, said he saw everyone go more or less willingly. So out of these survivors that we have that were there that day, these 7 people, there are different perspectives, of course. The Alex Jones prototype, Mark Lane, talked his way past the guards by saying he needed to stay alive to tell the story of Jonestown. And that piece of shit hid in the jungle, while the people he helped get to that point were dying on the ground thousands of miles from home. Now, the documentary Paradise Lost shows Marshall and Jones being dragged to the vat. It's almost certain that it did not happen that way. That's something that Fielding McGee pointed out to me as well. Most likely, after seeing the destruction of her life, she took her drink willingly. Her body was found amongst her people. The last group to die were the leadership and their children, 13 of them, including John Victor Stone, whose custody status had helped precipitate this entire mess. They walked around the compound with guns, taking care of the animals before they went. The 13 met their end in Jim's cabin. Some drank from a thermos filled with a potion, some injected themselves, and some did both, either making sure it stuck or proving one last time how much more dedicated they could be than the others. Then there was Jim Jones himself. When they found him, he was sprawled out on the pavilion. His eyes, no longer shielded by sunglasses, were staring upward, and his head was resting on a pillow. He had been killed by a single gunshot wound to the skull. The only other person to be killed by gun that day in Jonestown was Annie Moore, the last to die, and most likely the one who killed Jones. According to the survivors who lay listening in the jungle, hours passed between the last and the second to last shot.
Annie seemed to have been given the detail of wrapping everything up. It seems that what she did was make sure all of the inside circle was dead. Like, she administered probably shots and helped give out all of the poison, and then it seems like she killed Jim Jones and then put his head on a pillow. I think she must have done that at the very end, and then she was just doing last minute shit.
Yeah,
in those hours.
They found Annie lying in Jones's cabin, blocking the door. She'd either been wandering the grounds for hours, taking in what they'd done, or she'd spent her time inside, crafting her suicide note. Either way, she seemingly went to the grave still believing in Jim Jones. The last line of her note, written in different color ink than the rest, read, "We died because you would not let us live." God. Counting the people on the airstrip and those in Georgetown, the total dead on the order of Jim Jones was 918. That's
Holy
where
shit.
all of this ended.
Wow.
Thankfully, Stephen Jones, who deserves to be hailed as a hero, spent all night on the phone with the San Francisco office, and no one there took their lives. So in the end, Jim Jones got only half of what he wanted. He wanted to die, and he wanted to take people with him, and he got that, but he didn't get the legacy. He wanted a grand revolutionary gesture that would inspire others, that would make people see him as a great man. What he got was a joke, and a bad one at that. He got pundits and politicians and writers smirking as they casually shrink this tragedy down to one stupid, thoughtless phrase that's become Jim Jones's biggest contribution to the world. Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
It's Flavor-Aid. It's fucking
Well, don't drink the Flavor-Aid either.
Shouldn't be drinking Flavor-Aid, honestly, because of the sugars. But think about this shit, man. Honestly, I really love this ending, Marcus, because a part of it is that that's what he left the world with. In the end, he left the world with the shitty joke. He left the world with people like us making commentary on him. Like now, which has become a genre of entertainment that we're sitting on that we had no clue was going to be a genre. Like, this man's whole legacy is garbage, and he killed 918 people, and now we have, like, I have a collection of pins with his face on it that says the Kool-Aid Man, oh yeah, underneath it and all that shit, where it's like, what a waste.
What a gigantic waste.
Well, All Sport is a horrible drink, too.
Yes.
Remember All Sport? The future of drink.
I had a bit of a thing for All Sport. I
It's
like
carbonated.
I mean, like, Gatorade is the best of all, but I'll take All Sport over Powerade any day of the week.
All right, everyone. There it is. The 5-parter.
I tell you what, I'm really excited for the next episode. I'm excited to do. We got something coming that's, of course, something that's near and dear to my heart, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. But on the other hand, man, like, most of the time when we get to these long series, like, I'm so like, oh God, like, please let's move on to something else. But with this one, like, I'm fascinated. Like, this is, I could have done 4 more episodes on
All
this.
right. Well,
Like,
we'll call this point counterpoint. I'm good. Jonestown Part 5. Finishing up the series. Great research, guys. Unbelievable information. Do not get into this cult mentality. People do it all the time, and it still happens. You got to make sure, if you feel like one of your friends is slipping away, make sure that you address it and take care of it early on.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they get totally separated from you, there's nothing you can do.
I just did my first yoga class at this, like, ashram. I'm getting into yoga because I think it's fun. I want to get more flexible. I like it. But I've definitely, like, I feel like I've accidentally joined a cult immediately. And it turns out, I guess that's like a LA thing, is that pretty much everybody just accidentally joins a cult like 3 or 4 times. And you go, oh, I'm sorry, this is a cult. I have to leave.
I'm pretty sure that...
Check, please.
Check, please. I think Frogert's a cult.
Frogurt?
Is Frogurt frozen yogurt?
So you're saying the cult of Pinkberry? How many bodies will they leave?
You know, trying to tell us that, the future of ice cream is Dippin' Dots. I mean, don't do it, people.
Well, Ben, you mentioned research, and, you know, I really want. I had a lot of help on this one. First, I want to thank research assistant Rachel Sue for tackling Raven. I want to thank Fielding McGee at the Jonestown Institute for speaking with me and really opening up our eyes to a lot of different perspectives on the last days and the last year. And I also want to thank Carolina for spending hours searching through the transcripts of Jonestown meetings to find the excerpts that we played on this episode. And finally, I want to thank you, the listener, for coming along on this very long journey with us. We very much appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much.
So were you and Carolina legally married after that? Is that like a thing? Is that a true crime legal marriage if you sit and listen to that?
I think after they split their 1000th pickle together, they are legally married in the eyes of the Polish. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for all the Patreon subscribers. Without you, none of this is possible. Keep on supporting everyone here. All the shows here on the LPN network. Abe Lincoln's Top Hat. I want to thank everyone for being so kind. We put that in the feed here for the last podcast, on the last podcast feed, and we were a little bit nervous about it because it's a different show, but it's Marcus and I talking politics, and it's really fun. We've had such a great feedback from it. So thank you all so much, and thanks for supporting and Page 7 and all the other great shows here on LPN. We really appreciate it.
Yes, as always, honestly. And follow us on all of the various social media bullshits. On Twitter at Henry Loves You, at Marcus Parks, at Ben Kissel, on Instagram at Dr. Fantasty, at Marcus Parks, at Ben Kissel #1. Follow LP on the left for all of the horseshit that is speeding us towards the dystopia. I think we are living in a dystopia.
We are in it. We officially will be possibly having a military parade. Because who doesn't love a parade?
I think we entered it about 6 months ago.
I
think the moment we got into the top 5 podcasts of iTunes, that's when the dystopia began.
Yeah, perhaps. Or maybe it was when... Maybe it's Omarosa spilling the beans on a reality show, Big Brother. Who knows? We'll talk about that on Top Hat.
What I will say is if this is a dystopia, my favorite dystopia character, which I wish it could be, is Michael Caine from Children of Men. Or I want to be the guy that's got all the water and he lives in a world of gates, in slatted gates, and then I wear a big tub of water on my back and I suck it around being like, things have been bad in the dry land for 27 generations. I want to be that guy.
Ooh, that's fun.
I want
to have a lot of water.
if we get all the way to post-apocalyptic, I just want to be 3 Dog.
3 Dog!
3 Dog! Oh, all right. I want to have all the chili, all the water. Hail yourselves!
Hail Satan.
Hail Geen.
Hail me, if you have the energy. Is there anybody not sick right now?
No.
I just want to know, is there anybody out there who doesn't have a cold?
I don't have a cold, but I do have a pinched nerve.
Hey, all right. Congratulations, everyone.
Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, and convenient installation options. Go to TireRack.com to see tire test results, tire ratings, and consumer reviews, and be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
In Orlando, meetings reach another level thanks to a growing list of award-winning restaurants, a world-class convention center, a great hotel community, easy access through the airport, and of course, the weather. Andrew Moyes, VP of Fan Expo HQ, had this to say about Orlando. Orlando really can be that destination where you can innovate, collaborate, and look into the future. And that's what makes Orlando unbelievably real. Learn more at orlandoforbusiness.com.